Part 219. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 2182. Zhang Xiangbei and Xiang Yun felt that the major events here were settled, and when they could leave, they calculated that they had been in Nianzhou for more than 3 months and they were going back. Zhang Xiangbei and Xiang Yun called Feng Shengquan, Li Shengfeng, and Ma Token together and held a meeting. Next, Li Shenfeng's focus was on Nianzhou as his chairman, and Feng Shengquan needed to apply the model here. It was first promoted to several nearby villages in Linxia County, and then to the entire Linxia region and Gansu province. The highway distance from Linxia to Lanzhou and Yinchuan is about the same. Zhang Xiangbei, Xiang Yun, and Ma Token drove to Yinchuan, and then back to Hangzhou from Yinchuan. After getting off the plane, Zhang Xiangbei felt two worlds. Although it is still summer in Linxia and Yinchuan, the summer there cannot be compared with that in Hangzhou. It is hot there, and it is extremely hot in Hangzhou. It only comes when there is movement. Sweat, Hangzhou doesn't move. People standing outside are like a funnel, and sweat will flow out automatically. Sun Xiangyang came to pick up Zhang Xiangbei at Xiaoshan Airport. After picking him up, he asked, "Going to work or home?" "Go to the company first," Zhang Xiangbei said. The car stopped at the entrance of the company. Zhang Xiangbei got out of the car and happened to meet Zhou Ruyi coming out. Seeing them, Zhou Ruyi walked over with squinted eyes, looked at Zhang Xiangbei and asked, "This brother looks familiar. Who are you looking for?" "I'm here to find you," Zhang Xiangbei said. Zhou Ruyi screamed "Ah!" and hugged Zhang Xiangbei. Zhang Xiangbei quickly shouted, "The fat man is here, the fat man is here, be careful, he gets jealous." Sun Xiangyang chuckled, and Zhou Ruyi hugged Zhang Xiangbei tighter and shouted, "Let him eat it, you bastard, I thought you forgot to come back. Although a foreign country is good, how can it be better than Hangzhou?" Zhang Xiangbei said. "Get out!" Zhou Ruyi let go of him and cursed, "I'm worried about Xiang Nan, whether you will be fascinated by that little vixen Xiang Yun." "No, I'm as strong as a rock." Zhang Xiangbei stood there laughing. "Besides, if a rabbit even eats the grass beside its nest, it's not the grass that's being insulted, but the rabbit itself." "Go, what kind of grass is that facing south?" "Grass in the nest, grass for green plums and bamboo horses," Zhou Ruyi asked. Zhang Xiangbei chuckled, in terms of sharp tongue, "If you Zhou Ruyi were second, no one would dare to claim first. No wonder I saw the fat man stupid again." "Was he the one who was called stupid?" Sun Xiangyang still laughed loudly, and Zhou Ruyi said, "You don't have to give in too much." Zhang Xiangbei and Sun Xiangyang walked inside, and Zhou Ruyi followed them in. Zhang Xiangbei asked, "Weren't you going out just now? Why are you following?" "No, when I saw you, I forgot what I was going to do. I have to walk back and think about it," Zhou Ruyi said. Following them to the stairs, Zhou Ruyi remembered that she was right, "I was going to Xiaoli's place. Their food and drink National Day promotion was going on. Let's see how the advertising works." After Zhou Ruyi finished speaking, she hurriedly turned around and walked out the door. Zhang Xiangbei and Sun Xiangyang laughed. The two people went upstairs. When the customer service staff in the large office area saw Zhang Xiangbei, they all stood up and looked at him. Zhang Xiangbei asked, "What are you looking at?" "Monkey." Someone shouted, "Yes, we have never seen a monkey over 1.80 meters tall." Everyone laughed. Zhang Xiangbei pointed at the man and said, "Be careful, I will deduct your salary." The man shouted, "Come on, I'm not afraid of you." Everyone laughed again and then clapped. When Zhang Xiangbei and the others walked to the corridor, everyone in the office was startled by the loud noise outside. They walked out of the door and saw that it was Zhang Xiangbei who had returned, and they all clapped. Zhang Xiangbei approached Wu Huan. Wu Huan smiled and said to him, "I don't have an organization." Everyone is spontaneous. Isn't it gratifying? Zhang Xiangbei said, "Thank you." Zhang Xiangbei opened the door to his office and walked in. No one else followed, but Wu Huan closed the door for him. Zhang Xiangbei stood there, a little dazed for a moment. He saw that the office was spotless. It was obviously cleaned every day, but everything was still the same. Even the file that was open on the desk on the day he left was still open there. It's as if he left a minute ago and came back a minute later. Everything here is connected again. There is a section in the middle, like a movie film that was cut out and then connected again. Everything is still intact. The section that was cut out seemed to have never existed. But Zhang Xiangbei knew that they existed, and the more than 3 months that were cut out here were not blank. The landline phone on Zhang Xiangbei's desk rang. He picked up the phone and it was Gu Gong. Gu Gong called on the other end of the phone. "I heard from Zhou Ruyi that you're back. How's it going? Do you want some drinks tonight?" "Not today. If I don't go home for dinner today, I will be scolded by the old ladies," Zhang Xiangbei said, while Gu Gong laughed on the other end of the phone. "Okay, then let's wait for another day." "You really should go home," Gu Gong said. After putting down the phone, someone knocked on the door and Zhang Xiangbei said, "Come in." The door opened, and Wu Huan and Ma Lin were standing outside. Wu Huan asked, "Have you adapted to the environment here again? Can you report to work?" Come in," Zhang Xiangbei waved to them. The two people walked in. Zhang Xiangbei also stood up and went to sit on the sofa. Ma Lin sat down. Wu Huan did not sit down. She looked at the desk and walked over to pick up Zhang Xiangbei's cup. It was still empty. Wu Huan went to the water dispenser and poured water. When he came back, he put it in front of Zhang Xiangbei and said to Ma Lin, "Do it yourself." No need," Ma Lin said quickly. Wu Huan did not pour herself any water. She also sat down and said to Ma Lin, "You speak first." Zhang Xiangbei returned home. As soon as the door opened, Zhang Xiangzi, who was sitting on the sofa and watching cartoons with an iPad in his hand, saw him. He opened his eyes and shouted, "Bai Bei." She immediately got off the sofa and rushed towards Zhang Xiangbei, shouting as she ran, "Grandma, Grandma, Bai Bei is back." Zhang Xiangbei moved his left foot half a step back to get ready. Sure enough, Zhang Xiangzi rushed to his side and couldn't stop him. His head hit his stomach heavily. Zhang Xiangbei reached his hands under Zhang Xiangzi's armpits and pulled him. He lifted her up and picked her up. Zhang Xiangzi giggled, put his arms around Zhang Xiangbei's neck, and kissed him on the cheek. Zhang Xiangbei laughed. Grandma and Grandma knew that Zhang Xiangbei was coming back today and had been preparing in the kitchen for a long time. They heard the sound and came out. They stood at the door of the kitchen and looked at Zhang Xiangbei smiling. Zhang Xiangbei called Grandma and asked, "Where are Grandpa and Grandpa? Where else will it be?" "Down there," Grandma said. Zhang Xiangzi patted Zhang Xiangbei on the shoulder and said, "Let's go, Bai Bei, let's go see them." As soon as Zhang Xiangbei's hand loosened, Zhang Xiangzi grabbed Zhang Xiangbei's hair tightly with both hands and climbed onto his shoulders. Zhang Xiangbei said, "Okay, let's go to the underground parking lot." The studio of 2 land reclamation warriors is in a room next to the parking lot on the 2nd underground floor. You can hear the sound of lathes and electric drills from a long distance away. The door of the room is open. The basement is already very cool in summer. A fan is enough, and you don't even need to turn on the air conditioner. Zhang Xiangbei carried Zhang Xiangzi and walked in. 2 land reclamation warriors, one was loading something on the multifunctional machine, and the other was installing it on the sand table. Zhang Xiangbei was startled when he saw that it was a giant. The sand table is more than 10 meters long and more than 2 meters wide. It is covered with mountains and crisscrossing roads. Streets have been prepared and there are many houses. "Oh my God, what is this?" Zhang Xiangbei shouted. When the two land reclamation warriors heard Zhang Xiangbei's cry, they turned their heads and saw Zhang Xiangbei and Zhang Xiangzi coming. They stopped what they were doing. Zhang Xiangbei shouted to his grandfather, and the two of them responded with a smile. Zhang Xiangzi patted Zhang Xiangbei on the head and said to him, "Bai Bei, let me tell you, Grandpa and Grandpa, what they are doing is Hangzhou." Zhang Xiangbei listened to what Zhang Xiangzi said and looked carefully. Sure enough, he could see the Qiantang River and West Lake on the sand table. A circle of buildings close to the West Lake had also been completed. Zhang Xiangbei could name each house. "These houses are very realistic," Zhang Xiangbei sighed. "How did you build these houses?" Grandpa picked up the iPad in his hand and showed it to Zhang Xiangbei, and said proudly, "Did you see that we made the entire layout based on Google Maps? We ran over to each house ourselves and took photos with our mobile phones. The location, style, and proportions are absolutely correct. This project is too huge," Zhang Xiangbei admired. "Fortunately, it will be completed in more than 2 months," Grandpa said. "Someone has already ordered this work." "No, it is a rush order. 2 companies are competing for it." "Which 2 companies?" Zhang Xiangbei asked. Tan Shahen's Splendid China and Huihuan's Tuxianjiayuan Hotel were finally snatched away by Huihuan. Grandpa said that Zhang Xiangbei almost laughed. It turned out that these 2 companies were sponsoring. Zhang Xiangbei asked, "What does Tuxianjiayuan want this for?" "After it's done, a glass protective cover will be made on top. The Tuxianjiayuan Hotel will buy it and place it in the courtyard outside their gate for everyone to visit." After Grandpa said this, Zhang Xiangbei also felt that the sand table was really suitable if placed there. Those guys who came to eat walked around the entire sand table, pointing, looking at Hangzhou, and looking at their own. Wherever your work is, your home is also very good. Zhang Xiangbei turned to look outside the door and said, "It seems that such a large area will not be able to get out after it is completed, right? I've already had the pole come over to see it. He said that the entire basement is cast in place and has a frame structure. This wall can be dismantled." "How did you come up with the idea of becoming such a big guy?" Zhang Xiangbei asked. Grandpa told him that he was inspired by Lao Zhu's The Battle of Fai Shui when he saw your company's charity sale last time. They were not capable of shaping people, and they couldn't make a movie with as many characters as the Battle of Fai Shui sand table, but they are good at building, so they thought of making a panoramic view of Hangzhou. Thanks to Brokeback Mountain, to Gukaiwu WZF, and 2 fishes for the rewards. Thank you and, how, Mike, Hyukshuanatianxia, Zipanjiang1, Yuingzi, Protostop, and Book Friends 201798182135179119 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2183. Zhang Xiangbei took Zhang Xiangzi and left the underground parking lot. When they returned home, he put Zhang Xiangzi down from his shoulders. Zhang Xiangzi kept chattering to him about things in their preschool. Zhang Xiangbei listened to her words. The names of classmates popped up in the phone, and the more I heard them, the more confused I became. I had no idea what she was talking about. "Bai Bei, let me tell you, yes, it is like this many times. In fact, I am lonely among the crowd," Zhang Xiangzi said. Zhang Xiangbei was stunned for a moment, then came to his senses. He looked at Zhang Xiangzi and asked, "What are you talking about? At such a young age, you know what loneliness is." "Really, it's only when I'm alone that I don't feel lonely." Zhang Xiangzi said that. Zhang Xiangbei was surprised, looked at her and asked, "Zixi, what on earth are you talking about?" "I tell you, this is what Lucy said," Zhang Xiangzi said. Zhang Xiangbei breathed a sigh of relief. "Are there any foreign students in your class?" Zhang Xiangzi shook his head, and Zhang Xiangbei asked, "Then who is this Lucy?" Why don't you even know Lucy, Bai Bei, the one with Charlie Brown, Zhang Xiangzi shouted. Zhang Xiangbei laughed dumbly, and then realized that Zhang Xiangzi's topic had long ago shifted from what happened in their class to the cartoon she was watching just now. Zhang Xiangbei remembered that in Snoopy he had watched when he was a child. There is indeed a Lucy. Wherever Zhang Xiangbei went, Zhang Xiangzi followed him. Zhang Xiangbei went to put things in his room at Tan Shahan's house next door. Zhang Xiangzi followed him. Zhang Xiangbei came back and went to the kitchen to have a look. Zhang Xiangzi also followed him in to have a look. Finally, Zhang Xiangbei went in to take a look. Xiangbei sat on the sofa in the living room, and Zhang Xiangzi followed suit. Zhang Xiangbei asked, "Why are you following me? I haven't seen you for a long time, Bai Bei." "Let me tell you, I will definitely follow you today," Zhang Xiangzi said. Zhang Xiangbei smiled and said, "Okay, let's watch cartoons. Show me what you just watched." When Zhang Xiangzi heard this, he quickly took his iPad, clicked on the Snoopy he was watching just now, and showed it to Zhang Xiangbei. Zhang Xiangbei was lying on the sofa, Zhang Xiangzi was lying on him, Zhang Xiangbei holding the iPads in both hands. The two of them laughed and laughed while watching. Zhang Xiangzi's laughter was a bit exaggerated. She had obviously seen this episode before, and it wasn't that funny. She was laughing to cater to Zhang Xiangbei. Every time, Zhang Xiangbei had already finished laughing, and she continued to giggle. Laughter. Especially when they were approaching that bridge section, Zhang Xiangzi and Zhang Xiangbei said that they were almost there. After Lucy said, "Really, I don't feel lonely only when I am alone," Zhang Xiangbei laughed loudly, Zhang Xiangzi chuckled, and finally turned into a roaring voice, which almost broke his throat with laughter. After the two people finished watching this episode, they were about to continue watching. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan came back, followed by Tan Shahan, and finally Xiao Fang. Everyone who came back looked at Zhang Xiangbei carefully and asked him what happened. In this way, Zhang Xiangbei briefly told them what happened in Gansu, and repeated it twice. When he wanted to talk to Xiao Fang for the third time, Zhang Xiangzi shouted, I know, let me tell Bai Bei." Xiao Fang and Zhang Xiangbei both held back their laughter. Xiao Fang said, "Yes, Zixi, you say it." Zhang Xiangzi was chattering, and he actually learned to Xiao Fang all the words that Zhang Xiangbei had said to Lu Ligan, Tan Shahan, and the others one by one. He didn't even change the first person. He used me all the time, as if she was in Nianzigou. Same. During dinner, Zhang Chen, Lu Ligan, and the two reclamation warriors were all drinking. Lu Ligan also wanted to drink for Zhang Xiangbei, but Zhang Xiangbei said quickly, "I don't drink, and I have to drive at night." "Bai Bei, are you going out at night?" Grandma asked. Xiao Fang smiled and said, "Xiangnan is performing in Huzhu, Bai Bei, he." Grandma suddenly realized it and said with a smile, it should be, I haven't seen her for such a long time, you should go." Originally, Zhang Xiangbei wanted to go directly to Huzhu as soon as he returned to Hangzhou, but Xiangnan told him last night that he should go home and have dinner before coming over. Anyway, they had a performance today, so Zhang Xiangbei was going. Xiangnan didn't have time to accompany him, so it was better to have dinner at home before going to Huzhu. At that time, Xiangnan's performance was almost over. "If you don't go home and come here directly, Grandma won't scold you, but me," Xiangnan and Zhang Xiangbei said. Zhang Xiangbei went to Huzhu, of course, because he wanted to go to celebrate Xiangnan. When Zhang Xiangbei was in Nianzigou, Xiangnan attended this year's Plum Blossom Award presentation party, and she won the second prize. May, which is the second time he won the Plum Blossom Award, Zhang Xiangbei promised at that time that he would give Xiangnan a celebration banquet. After hearing that Zhang Xiangbei was going to Huzhu after dinner, Zhang Xiangzi quit. She climbed down from her stool, walked behind Zhang Xiangbei, and poked Zhang Xiangbei's waist with her small hand. Zhang Xiangbei turned his head. Zhang Xiangzi said, "Bai Bei, let me tell you, I will follow you today. Do you also want to go to Huzhu?" Zhang Xiangbei, of course knowing Zhang Xiangzi's little thoughts, asked, and Zhang Xiangzi nodded desperately. Xiao Fang shouted, "Zixi, what are you going to do?" "My brother is going to see Sister Nanan." "I'm going to see Sister Nanan too," Zhang Xiangzi said. "You still have to go to school," Grandma said. Zhang Xiangzi looked at Zhang Xiangbei with his mouth flat, his hands kept hitting Zhang Xiangbei's thigh, his eyes turned red. Zhang Xiangbei said, "Okay, brother will take you there." Zhang Xiangbei said to Xiaofang and Grandma, "Anyway, I have nothing to do when I go to Huzhu, so I can take her with me." Grandma said from the side, "Zixi is also pitiful. She keeps asking Bai Bei when she will come back every day." Grandma said, "Yes, Zixi, you go with your brother, and you have to listen to your brother and Sister Nanan, do you hear that? I've known you would say this for a long time, and I've wanted to tell you that I know," Zhang Xiangzi said, and everyone laughed. "Grandma, please help me ask for leave from Teacher Xiaolin," Zhang Xiangzi said to his grandma. When Zhang Xiangbei brought Zhang Xiangzi to the Huzhu Grand Theater, Xiongnan, and their performance were not over yet. The two of them went to the backstage. When the cast and crew backstage saw Zhang Xiangbei, they all smiled and nodded to him. Ding Yusong came over. Said Xiang Nan was still on stage. "We have heard it, brother Four Eyes," Zhang Xiangzi said. Ding Yusong gave Zhang Xiangzi a thumbs up and said, "You are still the best." What is being performed on the stage is a play created by Lao Tuo based on Zhang Xiangbei's Sushao Gang activity of fresh delivery at home. This year Xiang Nan won the second Plum Blossom because of this play. Zhang Xiangbei, Zhang Xiangzi, and Ding Yusong stood on the side of the stage, watching the performance on the stage. Xiongnan on the stage had a quarrel with Zhang Xiangbei because he was going to start a business in the countryside. He scolded Zhang Xiangbei loudly. Zhang Xiangzi was stunned. She leaned into Zhang Xiangbei's ear and said, "Your girlfriend is so fierce." Zhang Xiangbei couldn't help laughing. Xiang Nan on the stage swung the door open and walked away angrily. When he got off the stage, he saw Zhang Xiangbei and Zhang Xiangzi. Xiang Nan hurriedly came to hug Zhang Xiangzi. Zhang Xiangzi hid behind Zhang Xiangbei. Xiang Nan was stunned there. Zhang Xiangbei smiled and said, "You just scared her." "What's wrong with me?" Xiang Nan asked doubtfully. "She just saw you on stage and felt so fierce," Zhang Xiangbei said. Xiang Nan and Ding Yusong both laughed. Xiang Nan said, "It's over. My image is completely ruined in Zixi's mind. Isn't it, Zixi?" Zhang Xiangzi came out from behind Zhang Xiangbei and said, "The Nan Nan in front of me is very fierce, but let me tell you, I'm not afraid of this Nan Nan now. Don't be afraid to come here and let me hug you," Xiang Nan said. Zhang Xiangzi walked over, stretched out her hand to Xiongnan, and hugged Zhang Xiangzi carefully. She was worried that her makeup would be ruined because she still needed to go on stage. When they were about to go on stage, Xiang Nan and Zhang Xiangbei said, "Take Zixi to the dressing room, don't stand here." Zhang Xiangbei knew that there was going to be a more intense argument with Xiang Nan on the stage next, so he said, "Okay, we can't let your character collapse." Ding Yusong took Zhang Xiangbei and Zhang Xiangzi to the dressing room. Yin Tao had already put on makeup and was lying on a recliner to sleep. Tonight she was in the B corner of Xiang Nan. There was no need to go on stage after putting on makeup. Just kept here as a spare tire. Yin Tao saw Zhang Xiangzi and shouted, "Zixi, come here quickly." Zhang Xiangzi hurried over. Yin Tao sat up and said to Zhang Xiangzi, "Sister, can you put on makeup for you?" Zhang Xiangzi said yes. Yin Tao asked Zhang Xiangzi, "What do you want to transform into, a lady or a fairy?" Zhang Xiangzi thought for a while and then said, "I want to make a person with a dark face, that is the Black Mr. Bao." Yin Tao was stunned. Zhang Xiangbei and Ding Yusong also laughed. Yin Tao asked, Zixi, why do you want to be Baogong? Let me tell you, when grandma and grandma watch TV, when they see Baogong, they say he is a good person who specializes in dealing with bad people. Zhang Xiangzi said, and Yin Tao nodded, okay, then I will transform you into Baogong. Yin Tao used oil paint to outline a dark-faced Mr. Bao for Zhang Xiangzi. Zhang Xiangzi looked at himself in the mirror and kept giggling. Zhang Xiangbei even asked her to video chat with her grandmother so that they could also take a look at this female Bao. Male. Several people were having fun in the dressing room. They didn't even know that the stage was over. They pushed the door to the south and came in. When they saw Zhang Xiangzi, they were startled and scolded Yin Tao. Why did you put this makeup on her? Yin Tao giggled, this is Zixi's own choice. She is now the embodiment of justice. Xiang Nan and Yin Tao began to remove their makeup. Xiang Nan wanted to help Zhang Xiangzi remove his makeup, but Zhang Xiangzi was unwilling. Zhang Xiangbei said, Zixi, we are going to have supper. Ding Yusong said from the side, kid, what does it matter if you go out like this? Everyone followed Zhang to the west. It was said to be a celebration banquet, but there was nothing delicious at night in Huzhu. What Huzhu people like to eat most at night are pan-fried buns, crab roe buns, pineapple buns, etc., or grilled fish, crayfish or barbecue. Several people discussed it. Well, I went to Yuya Barbecue in Fumiao Food Street in Tianning Lane. This black-faced little Mr. Bao was walking in the food street. He was very popular and had a high rate of turning heads. This made Zhang Xiangzi very proud. After eating the barbecue and going back, Yin Tao took Zhang Xiangzi to the hotel and slept with the others in the group. Zhang Xiangbei and Xiangnan found another hotel. Thank you Shachan Mood, forget your password and come here again, and Zonda RR for your monthly pass. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2184. Xiangnan and the others will perform in Huzhu for 2 more days. The next day, Zhang Xiangbei and Zhang Xiangzi will return to Hangzhou first. After Xiangnan's performance in Huzhu, the troupe will take a week off, and Xiangnan will let Ding Yusong lead the troupe from when returning to Yongcheng from Huzhu. She took the high-speed train directly from Huzhu and returned to Hangzhou in half an hour. During the few days Xiang Nan was in Hangzhou, Zhang Xiangbei accompanied Xiang Nan every day, and the two of them played everywhere. When they actually started playing, they discovered that although they grew up in Hangzhou, they had only heard of many places and had never been there. Maybe they grew up here and felt that they could go to these places at any time. On the contrary, no more desire to go. Before they had been there, they thought there was nothing interesting in Hangzhou. After going there, they realized that no wonder so many out-of-towners come to Hangzhou every year during the holidays. There are really not many interesting places in Hangzhou. Few. They also look for delicious food everywhere, either to check in with internet celebrities, or wherever they go. The more remote the hotel with the fewer people they see, the more they want to go in and try it. This is a unique advantage for Zhang Xiangbei. These hotels are all customers of theirs Xien delivery. No matter where Zhang Xiangbei goes, he can just take out his mobile phone and search for their customer information to find nearby places. What restaurants and hotels are there? Xiang Nan joked, so you are taking care of your own business. Zhang Xiangbei laughed and said, it's true, so the fewer guests there are, the more we go to them to keep their business afloat. For several days, Zhang Xiangbei didn't even go to the company. Xiangnan was surprised and asked, Zhang Xiangbei, you don't have to go to work. Wu Huan asked me to relax for a few days, Zhang Xiangbei said. Xiang Nan felt even more strange. Wu Huan asked you to relax for a few days. When did you come under Wu Huan's control? What about you? Don't you feel anxious if you don't go to the company? Xiang Nan asked, although she was in Hangzhou and the troop was on holiday, not to mention Ding Yusong was in Yongcheng, she still often panicked, thinking that something like this or that would happen in the troop. The cast and crew were on holiday. She was also worried about the young students in the student class who were still in class. She called her grandfather who was teaching voluntarily in the student class. She was relieved to know that everything was normal in the student class. Zhang Xiangbei smiled, shook his mobile phone and said, I am already used to communicating with the company online. Carrying a mobile phone is equivalent to carrying an office. Xiang Nan nodded, but the doubts in his heart were not completely relieved. At noon that day, two people had dinner at a hotel in Manchualong. The hotel was in a remote location and not well known. It was also noon and there were very few guests. Apart from them, there was only a table of self-driving tourists from other places. They accidentally bumped into this hotel. The hotel was renovated from an original farmer's house. The windows were widened and large glass was installed. They sat on the edge of the glass and looked outside. The yard had been repaired and turned into a very exquisite small garden, but the courtyard, the wall was still the original courtyard wall, not even a single collapsed hole had been repaired. The pile of yellow mud and broken areas were covered with dogtail grass like the top of the wall. The two of them drank iced coke, looked southward at Zhang Xiangbei, and shook their heads. What? Zhang Xiangbei asked. The situation is not right, Xiang Nan said. What's wrong? Human, Xiang Nan said, your whole state is wrong. By the way, don't you want to come back? Where is it? Zhang Xiangbei said. I feel like you do, Xiang Nan said, when you were in Chongqing and Gansu, even in the video, I could see that you were full of energy and your eyes were alive. What about now? Zhang Xiangbei asked. Dead fish eyes, Xiang Nan said, although he seems to be smiling and happy, his eyes are dull. Zhang Xiangbei laughed loudly, and Xiangnan pointed at him and said, yes, that's right, right now, when you smile like this, the light in your eyes is scattered. Is it so scary? Zhang Xiangbei stopped laughing and asked. It's not scary, but it gives people an uneasy feeling, Xiang Nan said. To be honest, you haven't been to the company in the past 2 days. Do you have any intention of escaping? Really not, Zhang Xiangbei said. Xiang Nan turned to the window and thought for a while, then suddenly understood and asked, are you going out again? Zhang Xiangbei's face became uncomfortable, and Xiangnan understood. No wonder Wu Huan asked him to relax for a few days. It was not about relaxing, but Wu Huan knew that she was also in Hangzhou on vacation these days. She was asking Zhang Xiangbei to stay with him, and then Xiangnan asked. Why, are you embarrassed to say it? Are you afraid that I will tell you? I tour all year round and I am not afraid to tell you. What are you embarrassed to say? Zhang Xiangbei sighed and said, okay, I want to go out. Where are we going this time? Xiang Nan asked. Yunnan, Zhang Xiangbei said, I want to go to Yunnan and build a pilot company, so that our experience can be promoted in Yunnan, and Yunnan will become another big city for us after Ningxia and Gansu. The large-scale direct supply base can complement Ningxia and Gansu. Xiang Nan nodded and asked, how long will it take? It's hard to say. The situation in each place is different, and the time is hard to predict. But fortunately, we already have a branch in Yunnan. Do you have to go by yourself? Yes, I said that the situation in each place is different. I went there myself and carried out the first pilot project myself, so that I would have a clear idea. Otherwise, people in Hangzhou would not know where the supply base below is. What's going on? Once you encounter a problem, you will be helpless. Zhang Xiangbei looked at Xiangnan and said, "Do you still remember that our first supply base was where Uncle Xiao Wu and I drove down? At that time, the Xixian delivery was just that big. Now it is no matter how large it is, if we don't have a large-scale direct operation base of our own, once we encounter a bad disaster year, there will be supply problems." "You also like running around like this, right?" Xiangnan asked. Zhang Xiangbei smiled and said nothing. Xiang Nan picked up the coke and took a sip. She looked outside and saw the patch of dogtail grass on the wall swaying gently in the sun at noon. There was no trace of wind in the sky, but from these dogs you can still feel the slightest bit of wind in the swaying of the tail grass. "Zhang Xiangbei, tell me the truth, do you prefer to be in the office or running around?" Xiang Nan asked. Zhang Xiangbei thought for a moment and answered honestly, "I can't sit still in the office." "So you're still running away?" "No." Zhang Xiangbei shook his head. "I feel that in the office, all I see are numbers, there are no challenges, and I don't see changes. I like changes." Zhang Xiangbei looked at Xiangnan and said, "Be specific." "When Zaixianshu was first established, I loved staying in the company. There were problems and challenges that needed to be solved every day. At that time, when I stayed in the office, I felt that not only was my time not enough, but my body was not enough either. I would feel panicked as soon as I left the office, so at that time, I even liked to sleep on the sofa in the office, and I slept very soundly." Xiang Nan nodded and asked, "What now?" "Now? Now the business is stable, and the upstream and downstream have been sorted out. Every time a city is added, there will be no new challenges. All that changes is the numbers on the report. To be honest, I am a little numb to these numbers. It's enough to have Wu Huan and the others in the company. When I'm in the company, I feel like I'm getting in the way, as if I'm superfluous, but it's different outside. Outside, I can still feel the changes every day." "No wonder," Xiang Nan said. "What's the wonder?" Zhang Xiangbei asked. "No wonder when you returned to Hangzhou, the sparkle in your eyes disappeared and turned into dead fish eyes," Xiang Nan said. Zhang Xiangbei laughed. Xiangnan looked at Zhang Xiangbei and also laughed. Zhang Xiangbei asked, "Why are you laughing?" "I laugh," Xiang Nan said, "I laugh because you have a plot about God. I really enjoy the feeling that if there is light, there will be light, and if there is land, there will be earth." "No, no, 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 no." Zhang Xiangbei shook his head. "When God has no challenge, he can create whatever he wants, so what else is there to challenge?" "I understand, then you want to be the savior," Xiang Nan shouted. Zhang Xiangbei thought about it seriously and said, "Let's call him a changer. I just like changes and challenges. I can also be called a creator. For example, creating a Xixian delivery will make me very excited." The two of them chatted endlessly. The foreigners at that table had already left, and they were the only two left in the restaurant. Xiang Nan saw two waiters standing at the cashier counter, whispering to each other, and looking this way from time to time. Xiang Nan woke up suddenly and looked at his watch. It turned out that it was almost 2 o'clock. "Damn it, we harmed the waiters and we can't even get off work," Xiang Nan and Zhang Xiangbei said. Zhang Xiangbei quickly called the waiter to pay the bill, and Xiangnan said, "I'm sorry, I've lost track of time while we were talking, and I kept you waiting." The waiter smiled and said, "It doesn't matter. It's nice to see you talk." Zhang Xiangbei and Xiangnan both laughed, and Xiangnan said, "You can still speak. Xiang Nan is here. Every night, Zhou Ruyi and Sun Xiangyang will come to see them. The four of them will either go to disco or nightclub." Zhou Ruyi proposed to sing several times, but Xiang Nan and Zhang Xiangbei vetoed them. They really couldn't stand it. "Zhou Ruyi, the out-of-tune my ba." Sun Xiangyang quietly told Zhang Xiangbei, "Actually, I couldn't stand it either." He hit Zhou Ruyi on the head. It turned out that she heard it. Sun Xiangyang grinned and grinned. The closing show every night must be a late-night snack. They change places every day, and the four of them chat while drinking. Zhang Xiangbei and Sun Xiangyang can drink cold beer happily, and Zhou Ruyi also drinks some, since Xiangnan can drive anyway. Knowing that Zhang Xiangbei was going to Yunnan soon, Zhou Ruyi looked at him and kept shaking her head and sighing. "What are you doing?" Zhang Xiangbei asked. "You have exiled yourself, right, Zhang Xiangbei?" Zhou Ruyi said as she remembered. "It's pretty cool, self-exiled king, what do you think? Isn't this a cool word? When will you also be exiled?" Zhou Ruyi turned to ask Xiangnan. "Get out," Xiangnan cursed. "Thank you to Brokeback Mountain, no oo silk, and 2 fishes for the reward. Thank you for your monthly votes of no future, just remember the original intention, Niu Shen Nian Feng, James Chen, on the road, every day. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North." Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2185. Zheng Huiyang didn't know how she knew Zhang Xiangbei was back. She called Zhang Xiangbei and said, "Lao Ma wants to invite you to dinner tonight." "Bai Bei, where are you?" Zhang Xiangbei said, "Xiangnan and I are outside." "Along with Xiangnan, are you in Yongcheng?" Zheng Huiyang asked. No, Hangcheng, we are here in Yunkai," Zhang Xiangbei said. "Then come together." "I haven't seen Xiangnan for a long time," Zheng Huiyang said. Zhang Xiangbei covered the phone with his hand and asked Xiangnan, "Aunt Huiyang's phone number. Teacher Ma wants to treat us to dinner tonight, will you go?" Xiangnan said without hesitation, "Go, I really want to see what the richest man treats you like." Zhang Xiangbei laughed. He let go of his hand covering the phone and said to Zheng Huiyang, "Okay, let's do it together." "Thank you, Aunt Huiyang. I'll send you the time and place later," Zheng Huiyang said. Zhang Xiangbei said goodbye to Aunt Huiyang. 10 minutes later, the WeChat voice prompt came. Zhang Xiangbei picked up his phone and looked at it. It was from Zheng Huiyang, and it read: "Room 0, Tuxianjiayuan Hotel, 6:30. Xiangnan was discouraged as soon as he saw it. "Tuxiang Garden, I wouldn't have gone if I had known." "Why, do you look down on Tuxianjiayuan so much?" Zhang Xiangbei asked. No, Xiangnan chuckled, "If we go to Tuxianjiayuan, I'll just ask you to invite me. You don't need to be invited by the richest man. Your reputation there will be greater than that of the richest man." Zhang Xiangbei laughed. What the two of them didn't expect was that Zheng Huiyang was not originally arranged to stay at the Tuxianjiayuan Hotel in the evening. Now not only the place to eat has changed, but the host has also changed. Tonight, Mr. Ma's treat has changed to Zhang Morning Treat. Just before, Zheng Huiyang called Zhang Xiangbei and then called Zhang Chen, telling him that she had just called Zhang Xiangbei and that Lao Ma would like to invite Bai Bei, you and Xiao Fang to dinner tonight, Bai Bei. It's already been said there. Zhang Chen said as soon as he heard this, "I am a hotel owner. I am in Hangzhou, and I want Teacher Ma to treat me to dinner. I'd better treat you to Tuxianjiayuan Hotel. I haven't seen Teacher Ma for a long time, he is very rich now, won't he refuse to appreciate it?" "How is that possible?" "Mr. Zhang, you are old friends, so we have decided to eat your food tonight." Zheng Huiyang smiled on the other end of the phone. Zhang Xiangbei and Xiangnan came back from Yunkai. When they arrived at the half-acre field building, it was only 5:30. It was still early, so the two of them decided to go upstairs to sit first. After entering the elevator, the two of them had there was a disagreement. Zhang Xiangbei said she would go to Lu Ligan's place, but Xiangnan refused to go. She wanted to go to Zhang Chen's place, but Xiangnan said, "I don't want to talk to that person." Zhang Xiangbei scratched his head and said, "But I don't want to talk to that person either." Xiangnan giggled and said, "Okay, let's go separately and meet in the box later." As a result, the two of them went to that person, the other person's father's office, separately. Zhang Xiangbei sat in Lu Ligan's office until 6:10. He always thought it was teacher Ma who was treating him, so he didn't dare to ask Lu Ligan to go with him without permission. Lu Ligan knew that teacher Ma and Zheng Huiyang invited Zhang Xiangbei and the others, so they had their own things to talk about and didn't expect to go. Zhang Chen also had the same idea as Lu Ligan. He knew that the person teacher Ma and Zheng Huiyang really wanted to invite was actually Zhang Xiangbei. He and Xiaofang were just foils. The purpose of these two people's coming was unknown. It was not convenient for others to be present, so he did not. His name is Lu Ligan. When Zhang Xiangbei arrived, there was no one in the box. He waited for 10 minutes. Zhang Chen, Xiaofang, and Xiangnan arrived. As soon as Xiangnan came in, he shouted to Zhang Xiangbei. I was fooled. It's not the richest man who's treating me, it's my uncle who's treating me. Zhang Xiangbei said Zhang Chen and Xiaofang laughed. Zhang Chen said, I brought it over myself. It was indeed teacher Ma's treat, and I accepted it with my heart. At 6:30, teacher Ma and Zheng Huiyang had not arrived yet. It was almost 6:40 when the door of the box was pushed open and teacher Ma and Zheng Huiyang walked in. Behind them was a young man with 6 bottles in his hand. Mao Tai came in, put down the drink, and the young man turned around and left. Teacher Ma put his hands together and apologized to Zhang Chen, I'm sorry, the road is too congested. Zhang Chen smiled and said, even you can't move even an inch, right? Teacher Ma shook his head with a wry smile. After everyone sat down, the waiter asked, Mr. Zhang, are all the guests here? Zhang Chen nodded, and the waiter withdrew. There was a supervisor waiting at the door. The waiter nodded to her. The supervisor picked up the intercom and called the food delivery station. The food in box 0 was served immediately. Teacher Ma looked around the box and said to Zhang Chen, Mr. Zhang, I really envy you. If I had a hotel like this, I wouldn't want to do anything else. Xiaofang smiled and said, it's not easy for you to have one. Teacher Ma smiled and said nothing. Zhang Chen heard Li Yong say some things about teacher Ma, and the water was a bit deep. When Li Yong was the mayor of Hangzhou, he kept a distance from teacher Ma. He rarely dealt with him, and rarely went to Doubao.com. Zhang Chen knew that teacher Ma had his own difficulties, and his words were not hypocritical, including the famous saying that teacher Ma doesn't like money that is being circulated everywhere on the internet. In fact, this is not wrong. Zhang Chen knows it deeply. When money reaches a certain level, it will only bring you cold numbers. But along with these cold numbers, comes endless troubles. Teacher Ma is opening a translation agency. At that time, if he said that he didn't like money, it would be hypocritical. But now, when he said this, it was more or less out of emotion. Teacher Ma looked at Zhang Xiangbei and said to Zhang Chen, Mr. Zhang, what I envy you most is that you have a good son. Same Zhang Chen said, sons are other people's good things. Everyone in the box laughed, and Zhang Chen continued, they all say that giving birth to a child is like Sun Zongmu. I think Sun Jian will definitely not think so. He still hates whether iron can become steel, teacher Ma asked. Zhang Chen nodded, and both of them laughed. The dishes came out quickly and frequently, and soon the table was full. It was obvious that Hui Huan had arranged it in the kitchen herself. Xiang Nan looked at the dishes on the table, then leaned close to Zhang Xiangbei and said in his ear, it seems that not only the richest man is treating us, but the dishes he is serving are different. Zhang Xiangbei couldn't help but burst into laughter. Zheng Huiyang asked. Bei, why are you laughing? Zhang Xiangbei pointed south, she said. Xiangnan's face turned red slightly, and he hurriedly kicked Zhang Xiangbei under the table. Zhang Xiangbei said. She said she had never seen many of the dishes on the table. Indeed, I haven't seen them either. Zhang Chen said with a smile, "It's all arranged by Hui Huan. Not only you, but I have never seen some of them. These dishes are not on the menu at all. Hui Huan went to the stove in person today." Zheng Huiyang and teacher Ma explained, "Hui Huan is the general manager here and the inheritor of Fu's cuisine." When teacher Ma heard this, he knew that Zhang Chen took it seriously, so he quickly handed over his hand and thanked him. Xiao Fang and Zheng Huiyang drank red wine, while Xiangnan drank soft drinks. The three men drank Maotai that teacher Ma and the others had brought. 2 bottles were ready to be finished, and there were 4 bottles given to Zhang Chen by teacher Ma. The 6 bottles of Maotai brought by teacher Ma are not ordinary Maotai, but his Fengtan liquor. No matter how much money you have, you can't buy it in the market. These are 2 large jars of wine that Mr. Ma personally went to the Kuichao Mutai group last year to sign his name on the jar and seal the jar. They total 1,000 kilograms and were carefully blended by Li Wei, a national first-class sommelier and senior blending master of Mutai. It has been stored in the wine warehouse for 4 years. From the input of materials to the sealing of the altar last year, it spanned 5 years. Zhang Chen and Zhang Xiangbei tasted this Mutai and both praised it as really good and better than ordinary Mutai. Teacher Ma was full of praise for Tuxian Jiayuan's dishes. He asked, "Are all Fu's dishes on this table?" Zhang Chen said that most of them are, and a few are new dishes. Hotel operators have no choice but to constantly introduce new dishes, as customers' tastes are changing. At the banquet, teacher Ma told Zhang Xiangbei and the others that when he first started making web pages, Hangzhou had not yet connected to the internet. The first business he got was Zhang Chen's half an acre of land and he even paid for it. The current layout of the website was also modified with Zhang Chen's help that night. Not only Zhang Xiangbei didn't know about these things, but even Xiao Fang didn't know that they had such a connection. Everyone was drinking and chatting. They drank happily and chatted happily. Just like the last time Mr. Ma met Zhang Xiangbei in Lanzhou, Zhang Xiangbei thought he was going to talk about the acquisition of Zai Xianshui. The result was no today. Teacher Ma also did not talk about this matter. On the contrary, he was very concerned about Zhang Xiangbei's trip to Gansu and the process of village transformation into a company, and asked very carefully. Similarly, he is also very interested in Zhang Chen's Diet Men and Women, saying that he is already a customer of Diet Men and Women. In fact, he is more than a customer. When Diet Men and Women Round B, Dabao.com also participated, it's just that the amount involved is not large, and it is not enough to require special attention from him and Zheng Huiyang. There is a rest area in Box 0, and there is a small dance floor next to the rest area, as well as a full set of karaoke equipment. Everyone drank until they were happy, and everyone knew that Xiang Nan was an opera singer. Teacher Ma said that he had heard Wu opera since he was a child. There are many Wu operas that I have never heard of. Zheng Huiyang said from the side, "Then please invite Nanan to do a part." What a rare opportunity. Everyone stood up and moved to the rest area, where the waiter immediately brought tea and fruit plates. Xiang Nan sang a section, and everyone applauded. Zheng Huiyang said, "No wonder it's the second plum blossom. There seem to be only 2 people in Hangzhou who have won the second plum blossom. One is Mao Vitao, and the other is Xiang Nan." At teacher Ma's request, Xiang Nan sang 2 more verses, and then asked teacher Ma to also sing a Yu opera piece. Teacher Ma said, "I can only sing model operas." "Then let's do a model show," Zhang Chen said. Teacher Ma sang Yang Ziyang's aria of fighting tigers up the mountain from Taking Tiger Mountain by Wisdom with great energy, and everyone applauded. Then, Zhang Chen held his neck and sang Young Aspirations Don't Say Sorrows. Xiao Fang and Zheng Huiyang also sang, and Zhang Xiangbei also sang an English song. The next day, Xiangnan's vacation was over. Zhang Xiangbei sent her to Yongcheng, stayed there for 1 night and returned to Hangcheng. Zhang Xiangbei then went to Kunming. Thank you for the monthly passes of On the Road to Nation and Nanki Iming 79. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2186. Teacher Ma gave Zhang Chen 4 bottles of Maotai, and Zhang Chen gave Lu Ligan 2 bottles. Lu Ligan knew the origin of the wine and shouted, "Here I go, I can't bear to drink such a bad wine myself. I want to give it away to others." Going to pay bribes, Zhang Chen asked. "Bullshit, just pay bribes to buy fake wine," Lu Ligan said. "These people can't tell the difference anyway. They receive fake wine, cigarettes, calligraphy, paintings, and antiques. They are used to it, so they probably have never received counterfeit money." "Your statement is too exaggerated," Zhang Chen said. "It's not an exaggeration at all. Whoever receives such a thing would open it on the spot. They don't lack it. After receiving it, they just put it into the pile at home, and then someone in the family will take it away. They are sold in stores that recycle cigarettes and alcohol. In the store by the river in Meeshi, we often go to buy cigarettes. The boss told me that once a woman brought 2 large vest bags and more than 30 cartons of Chinese cigarettes to sell, but you know she after checking, how many of them are true?" Lu Ligan said. Zhang Chen asked, "How much?" "Article 19, that is to say, almost half of them are fake cigarettes." "What do these people want?" "They collect fake cigarettes, wine, calligraphy, paintings, and antiques to help others, but in the end they end up in a real prison." Lu Ligan, after speaking, he laughed. "Stop having fun, tell me, who are you going to give it to?" Zhang Chen asked. "You won't be so filial, so think of giving it to Lao Lu." "It's just a gift to Lao Lu, but it's Lao Lu, Lu Cheng, not Lao Lu. If Lao Lu gives him this wine, then he's sorry for the wine." Lu Ligan said, "Sending this to Lao Lu is not considered a bribe, it can only be regarded as a favor, right? I have no contact with him at all now. He has been retired for many years. Now he has been neglected for a long time. It's Mr. Ma Yao. If I think of giving it to you, I wouldn't think of giving this to the former mayor, right? The old demon wouldn't send it to me. Okay, invite him to dinner, drink my 2 bottles, and take your 2 bottles with me when I leave." "I haven't seen his old man for a long time," Zhang Chen said. "Okay, you call to make an appointment," Lu Ligan said. Zhang Chen immediately called Lu Cheng and asked the couple to have dinner. He said that the hotel had launched a lot of new dishes. "There was no one else but Lu Ligan and we missed you both." Lu Cheng readily agreed, and Zhang Chen told him, "Let's do it tomorrow night, Lao Lu, it's still the same box as before, at 6:30, by the way, do you want me to come and pick you up?" Lu Cheng said, "No, I can just drive here by myself. The car is in the garage and has not been driven for a long time." After Lu Cheng retired and returned to Hangzhou, Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan asked him to lead again, but he quit, saying that he was no longer in his position and was just an ordinary old man. "Why should he lead? I don't even have the old lady at home. I can no longer lead." Lu Cheng insisted that they call him Lao Lu, and Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan kept shouting, so they got used to it. Basically every month, the 2 of them would invite Lao Lu and his wife to dinner and chat. Sometimes they would also go to the nearby Renjia Travel B/U0026B to stay for a few days, but they would not travel far, let alone go out of the province. Zhang Xiangbei went to Yunnan for more than 3 months and established companies in Zhaotong, Qujing, Yuxi, and Wenshan. The companies here were all without exception. It turned out that they were all villages supported by their Sui Hang help activities. The entire village was Village Reform Company. After several model companies were established, Zhang Xiangbei left Yunnan, and their Yunnan branch continued to promote village transformation companies in other places. At the same time, Feng Shengquan is in Gansu and Xiang Evian is not stopping in Ningxia. When Zhang Xiangbei left Yunnan, the Chinese New Year was still more than a month away. Instead of returning to Hangzhou, he went to Da'anwen and Daqianqian. His next target was the southern Hunan and northern Guangdong areas. This time Zhang Xiangbei decided to break the provincial boundaries and combine southern Hunan and northern Guangdong, two places that are geographically close and have more convenient transportation. It is more convenient to go from Guangzhou to northern Guangdong than from Quanzhou to northern Guangdong. Including some counties in southern Hunan, it is more convenient than Yangzhou to radiate from Quanzhou. Zhang Xiangbei put the center of this area in Quanzhou. The same project is also being launched in other provinces where they already have branches. Of course, Zhejiang has also continued to expand its presence in fresh food delivery in cities. Basically, it continues to expand at the pace of launching 4 or 5 new cities every month. During this period, Zhangchen's Diet Men and Women has entered the fast track to listing on the Nasdaq in the United States next year after undergoing the D round. Zheng Huiyang and her seniors visited Xiaofang many times respectively. Teacher Ma was responsible for saying anything that Zhang Xiangbei and Zhang Chen did not say in front of Zhang Xiangbei and Zhang Chen. Of course, the goal of both of them was to deliver fresh food at home. When I get busy, time flies really fast. New Year's Day of 2018 is coming soon, followed by the Lunar New Year. Zhang Xiangbei returns to Hangzhou to celebrate the New Year. On the 5th day of the New Year, Xiang Nan will return to the troupe to participate in the tour. Zhang Xiangbei also returned to Quanzhou. After the New Year, it was also the beginning of their fresh delivery rotation training for the following companies, especially the CEOs of various supply bases. Mr. Gan from Yubei Company arrived in Hangzhou. He called Xiaofang. Zhang Chen and Xiaofang knew that Mr. Gan had come to Hangzhou, so they naturally wanted to invite Mr. Gan to dinner at Tuxianjiayuan Hotel. During the meal, Zhang Chen asked Mr. Gan how the company is doing now. Mr. Gan smiled and said it was very good. Mr. Zhang was so great. After he went to make adjustments, now the village committees and committees in several villages couldn't talk anymore. We are the only ones. The company's instructions are only listened to below. Even I have almost forgotten that I am still a village director. Zhang Chen's heart skipped a beat, and he asked Mr. Gan to introduce their company in detail, especially what they did after Zhang Xiangbei left. Mr. Gan talked to them from beginning to end. Zhang Chen frowned as he listened. Mr. Gan hesitated as he talked, thinking that he had made a mistake somewhere. Xiaofang looked at Zhang Chen and gently kicked him under the table. Zhang Chen suddenly realized and smiled at Mr. Gan. After a while, his face became solemn again and he spoke very little. After dinner, Zhang Chen and Mr. Gan drank wine. Xiaofang drove the car, and the two of them took Mr. Gan to the hotel first and then went home. Xiaofang drove the car and looked at Zhang Chen who was sitting in the passenger seat. He looked worried. Xiaofang asked, "What's wrong with you?" Zhang Chen shook his head and said, "Nothing." Xiaofang looked at him like this, and it didn't look like he had nothing to do, but she didn't ask any more questions. She knew that when he felt like he could speak, he would definitely tell her. The two went home and took a shower. Zhang Chen went to the study. Xiaofang took her laptop and sat on the bed to work. At about 10 o'clock, she got out of bed and walked to the study. When she opened the door, she saw Zhang Chen staring blankly. Sitting there, Xiaofang walked over and saw pens and papers on the table. Xiaofang put her hand on Zhang Chen's shoulder and asked, "What are you thinking about?" "I didn't think about anything." Zhang Chen looked at the clock on the table and said to Xiaofang, "You go to sleep first, I have to draw something." Xiaofang nodded and said yes. She bent down and hugged Zhang Chen from behind. Zhang Chen turned around and the two of them kissed. Xiaofang said, "You should come to bed early too." Zhang Chen said Xiaofang slept until midnight, woke up in a daze, and found that the room was still empty. She looked at the time, and it was already past 2 o'clock in the morning. Xiaofang got out of bed, walked to the study, and opened the door. She was startled. The smoke inside the door was all caused by Zhang Chen's cigarette. Zhang Chen hadn't smoked so much for a long time since Lu Li's knife. Xiaofang quickly walked over, opened the window, and turned to look at Zhang Chen. The lead drawing paper on the table was still blank, and the ashtray was full of cigarette butts. Xiaofang sat down beside Zhang Chen and stretched out her hand. He held Zhang Chen's hand and asked, "Honey, what's wrong with you?" Zhang Chen looked at Xiaofang and smiled bitterly, and asked, "Teacher Ma and your senior, do they still have the intention to purchase Zai Xianshui?" "Of course, it's not just them," Xiaofang said. "What's wrong?" "I think it's time for us to sell Zai Xianshui," Zhang Chen said. "What did you say?" Xiaofang was shocked. "I said that we should sell Zai Xianshui instead of continuing, including going public, because we don't have that time," Zhang Chen said. Xiaofang looked at him with wide eyes. She was completely sleepless. She didn't understand what Zhang Chen meant. Zhang Xiangbei would definitely object to selling Zai Xiangshao, but Zhang Chen turned out to be the most supportive. Zhang Xiangbei, in his words, will only be the father that a son wants his father to be. "Why did you suddenly have this idea?" Xiaofang asked. Zhang Chen looked at Xiaofang, who was only wearing thin pajamas. Then he looked at the clock on the table and the open window. Zhang Chen and Xiaofang said, "You should go back and go to sleep. If you wear so little, be careful of catching a cold. I will think about it for a while and think it over clearly. I will tell you tomorrow morning." Xiaofang wanted to say something else. Zhang Chen stood up. He stretched out his hand to pull Xiaofang up and sent her back to the room. He watched her get into bed again. Zhang Chen sat on the edge of the bed and touched Xiaofang's cheek and hers. "Explain. Go to sleep peacefully." "I'm fine. I just need time to think about it. Tomorrow morning, I will definitely tell you why I had this idea." Xiaofang nodded, "Then smoke less." Zhang Chen said yes. Zhang Chen kissed Xiaofang, stood up, reached out to turn off the lamp on the bedside table, and walked out. Zhang Chen returned to the study. The cold February wind had come in from the window and filled the study. Zhang Chen walked to the window, closed the window, and sat down in front of the desk again. He reached for the cigarette on the table and took out a cigarette. After thinking about it, he threw the cigarette on the table. Zhang Chen continued to think blankly. After thinking for a while, he picked up the mobile phone on the table, found Lu Ligan's number and dialed it. After the phone rang for more than 10 times and was picked up, Lu Ligan muttered on the phone, "Crazy, what time is it, and you still called me?" "Come here, I have something to tell you," Zhang Chen said. "What are you doing, fighting with Xiaofang?" "Get lost," Zhang Chen scolded, "there are important things." Lu Ligan had already sat up on the bed. He was awake and his voice was clear. He cursed. "You humming want me to go over now and wake up a room full of old and young people? You can't talk about anything on the phone." Also, in Zhang Chen's house, 4 old people and Zhang Xiangzi lived on the first and second floors. The old people slept lightly at night. If they heard that someone was coming in at this time, they would definitely get up to see what happened. "I couldn't tell you clearly on the phone," Zhang Chen said. "I'll come over. You go downstairs and open the door for me." In the house next door, Zhang Xiangbei and Xiangnan were not there, only Lu Ligan and Tan Shehen were there. Tan Shehen must have been woken up by this time, so who cares? Zhang Chen hung up the phone, stood up, tiptoed out, closed the door gently, and tiptoed downstairs. Thank you to Brokeback Mountain, 3 o'clock in the middle of the night, 2 fishes, 1 up and 1 down, and the Tin Soldier for the rewards. Thank you Yuangzi, 4 + 1 = 5, Dragon, Zipanjiang 1, and book friend 201707241126511879 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2187. Zhang Chen left his house and walked to the next door. The door next door was ajar. Zhang Chen pushed the door open and saw Lu Ligan and Tan Shahan sitting on the sofa in the living room on the first floor. Zhang Chen and Tan Shahan said, "Why are you down too?" "Why, you two have secrets that I can't listen to," Tan Shahan asked. Listen, it has something to do with you, the mother-in-law anyway," Zhang Chen said. Zhang Chen then analyzed what Mr. Gan said to them, what Zhang Xiangbei was doing now, and his own judgment. The two of them were shocked and became anxious. They both felt that this matter was not trivial. "Where is Bai Bei now?" Lu Ligan asked. "Chenzhou," Zhang Chen said. "Then what are you waiting for? I'll be with you. Let's leave immediately." "Call him back and tell him to stop," Lu Ligan shouted. Zhang Chen said, "Yes, I will tell Xiaofang the matter at dawn and we will leave." Tan Shahan said from the side, "Zhang Chen, you are right. It is not enough for Bai Bei to come back. Even if he is asked to stop now, he has no choice. The stall has been spread out. If he wants to close it now, he must be riding a tiger and it is difficult to close it. I couldn't take it any longer, so the best decision was to sell Zixi and Shui. You and Xiaofang must have unified opinions. As long as your opinions are unified, I think Lu Yun and Xiaohu will support you. As long as it is for Bai Bei's good, you both agree, even if Bai Bei objects, Xi fresh delivery can also be sold. Of course, the best result is to communicate with Bai Bei. If you tell Xiaofang about the matter, she will definitely know the stakes here. Xiaofang is not that confused. It is not difficult to convince her. The difficulty is Bai Bei. Many times, the authorities are confused," Lu Ligan said. Zhang Chen nodded. When Xiaofang woke up again, it was already dawn outside. She looked around and saw that it was still empty. She quickly got out of bed and walked to the study. There was no one in the study. Xiaofang walked to the stairs and stretched her head to look down. It was quiet downstairs. Xiaofang was surprised. She picked up the phone and called Zhang Chen, who picked up the phone. "Where have you been?" Xiaofang asked. "Next door, the pole is here," Zhang Chen said. "You haven't slept all night?" "After sleeping for a while, I finished talking to them and realized that I didn't bring the key, so I didn't wake you up. I squinted on their sofa for a while. I'm back. You can open the door for me." Xiaofang said yes. Xiaofang went downstairs and opened the door. Zhang Chen was already standing outside. Xiaofang asked, "What is so important?" "Go upstairs and talk," Zhang Chen and Xiaofang said. The two of them went upstairs, entered the study, sat down, and Zhang Chen and Xiaofang started talking. Zhang Chen's mother made breakfast, and the two land reclamation warriors also went out for a walk and bought fried dough sticks and fried pancakes. The four old people finished breakfast with Zhang Xiangzi and were about to send Zhang Xiangzi to kindergarten. Zhang Chen and the little boy were not seen. Fragrant down. These two people overslept. "We are sending Zixi to kindergarten. You go up and call them," Zhang Chen's mother said to Lao Zhang. Zhang Chen's mother and Xiaofang's mother took Zhang Xiangzi out. Lao Zhang didn't go up to call Zhang Chen or the others. What's there to say to such grown-up people? He called Xiaofang's father, and the two of them went to the studio to do their own work. When I walked to the door, I met Lu Ligan and Tan Shahan coming over. Lao Zhang and Lu Ligan said, "Call those two people to come down for breakfast." Lu Ligan and Tan Shahan went in. Lu Ligan was too lazy to go upstairs. He picked up the phone and called Zhang Chen and told him. You two come down and say that Zhen Zhen and I are the only ones downstairs now. He knew that these two people were definitely not sleeping now, but talking. The two of them sat down to have breakfast, and Zhang Chen and Xiaofang also came down from upstairs. After breakfast, the four of them had already reached a consensus that Zaixian delivery must be resolutely sold. Now, the most difficult thing for them is how to convince Zhang Xiangbei. The Quanzhou branch of Zaixian delivery rents an entire four-story house in a house next to Wuling Park. In the afternoon, Zhang Xiangbei received a call from Lu Ligan in the village below, saying that he and his father were on their way here and would arrive in Quanzhou in the evening, asking Zhang Xiangbei to go to the Zaixian delivery Quanzhou branch wait for them. Zhang Xiangbei hurried back to the company and sat down in the office. He was very confused as to why they came to Quanzhou. Could it be that Lu Ligan's Renjia Tourism planned to do some projects in Quanzhou and asked his father to come over and design renderings for him? Or maybe Lu Ligan missed Lu Wenqian and wanted to come over for a visit, but he was afraid that Aunt Shahan would think too much, so his father came with him. But in that case, they shouldn't go to Quanzhou, but should go directly to Ningyuan and Hongling Reservoir. Zhang Xiangbei walked to the next door, told De Wenwen about the arrival of Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan, and asked Wenwen if she wanted Qian to bring Lu Wenqian over. Wenwen thought for a while, then sighed and said, "Forget it, let's wait until they arrive." Every time Lu Wenqian meets her father, she is in trouble for several days, and it takes a lot of effort to calm down. Zhang Xiangbei said okay, let's wait until they arrive. Zhang Chen and the others drove through Guangchang, Jiangxi. There was a section of highway under construction, and they were driven onto the national highway. They got on the highway again when they were about to reach Ganzhou. It took more than 2 hours to wait for them to catch up. It was already past 7 o'clock in the evening when we arrived in Quanzhou. What surprised Zhang Xiangbei was that Aunt Xiaofang also came with them. Xiaofang was worried that Zhang Chen and Zhang Xiangbei had different opinions and would quarrel, so she insisted on coming. Zhang Chen and the others drove all the way without having dinner on the way. Zhang Xiangbei quickly took them to have dinner. Zhang Chen asked Wenwen to go too. Wenwen saw that the three of them were here to see Zhang Xiangbei. Something must have happened. She was there. It wasn't necessarily convenient for them, so they just pretended that they had already eaten and didn't follow. Zhang Xiangbei took them to a restaurant called Fujia Private Cuisine. Zhang Xiangbei said, "Let you know, this is Li Gui." "What do you mean?" Zhang Chen asked. "The dishes inside are all made according to the standard Fu family cuisine, but they cut corners," Zhang Xiangbei said with a smile. "Then we are going to support him?" Zhang Chen asked. "It's just fun to eat, why are you so serious?" Zhang Xiangbei chuckled. "I want to see something," Xiaofang said. "I think so too," Lu Ligan and Zhang Chen said. "If Li Kui can meet Li Gui, he will be very lucky, right?" Xiaofang and Zhang Xiangbei laughed, and Zhang Chen couldn't laugh or cry. "Let's go." Anyway, they didn't come here to eat, let alone to crack down on counterfeiting. Fu's private kitchen is a 3-story house, and the business is very good. The four of them entered the private room on the second floor and sat down. Zhang Chen took the menu and looked at it. Sure enough, the name of the dish on the menu was the same as food and drink. The Fuji cuisine is the same. Lu Ligan asked the waiter, "Is your Fuji cuisine the same as food for men and women?" The waiter came right away, "They learned from us, and their chef came from our place." It was too arrogant to talk nonsense. Zhang Chen was about to get angry when Xiaofang held his hand and tightened it twice. Lu Ligan then asked, "Your boss's surname is Fu?" The waiter shook his head, "No." "The chef's surname is Fu?" "No." "It has nothing to do with the dime named Fu, so where did your Fu family food come from?" Lu Ligan asked. The waiter was asked and said anxiously, "I don't know either. The Fu cuisine of food and drink is modeled after yours." Did the boss ask you to say this? Lu Ligan asked. The waiter became alert and asked, "Where are you from?" "Order, order," Zhang Chen said impatiently. He didn't have time to be serious with them today. Zhang Chen closed the menu and put it on the table. Without looking at the menu, he tried to name the 7 or 8 dishes on their own menu in one breath. Sure enough, there were all of them here. Zhang Chen was getting angry as he reported them. When they came up, Xiao Fang, Lu Ligan, and Zhang Xiangbei were already laughing together. The waiter looked at them in surprise. She didn't know what was so funny about ordering a dish, and asked, "What's wrong?" Lu Lipol pointed at Zhang Chen and said, "You don't know such an old customer." The waiter stared at Zhang Chen and said honestly, "Impossible. If you are an old customer, I will definitely know him. I have been working here for 2 years. Then if he wasn't an old customer, how could he be so familiar with your dishes?" Lu Ligan asked. Yeah, the waiter was confused too. After ordering, the waiter wanted to take away the menu in front of Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen pressed it and said to the waiter, "You go and place your order first, and I'll take a look at the menu to see if there's anything I need to add." The waiter said "Oh" and went out. Zhang Chen opened the menu, took out his mobile phone and took pictures page by page. Lu Ligan asked, "What do you want to do?" "Send it to Xiaoli," Zhang Chen said. "Don't you have a branch in Chenzhou? The manager of this branch is negligent in his duties. Such a big league issue is here, and they didn't come over to crack down on counterfeiting," Lu Ligan scolded. "It's hard to control this," Xiao Fang said. "Although Fujia Cuisine has applied for a patent, didn't Bai say that corners are cut here? Cutting corners just makes the dishes here different from eating men and women. Constitutes infringement. It's like someone took a piece of clothing designed by someone else and changed the 3 buttons to 2 or 4, so there's no infringement." Zhang Chen smiled bitterly. This is really a humming paradox. Good imitation is called fake, and it is obviously plagiarism, but if the plagiarism is not enough, it is not an infringement, Lu Ligan cursed. When the food arrived, Zhang Chen could tell without looking carefully that Zhang Xiangbei was right. Corners had indeed been cut. The ingredients used were not as particular as the Fu family cuisine of eating for men and women. There were a lot of seasonings, probably because of the lack of food. If not, I simply used a substitute and tried the taste again. It was even worse. Zhang Chen put down his chopsticks and said, "Although the table is full of food today, I'm afraid I won't be full." Zhang Xiangbei quickly handed over his hands. My fault, my fault." Pretentious, Lu Ligan rolled his eyes at Zhang Chen and said, "I think it's okay. Don't think it's Fu's cuisine, just think of it as Liu's cuisine and Wang's cuisine, and you'll be able to eat it with gusto." Xiao Fang and Zhang Xiangbei laughed, and Xiao Fang said, "That's right." Halfway through the meal, Zhang Xiangbei couldn't hold it in any longer and asked, "What are you 3 doing in Chenzhou today? Are you here to find me?" "Of course I'm here to find you. If not you, who would I be looking for?" Lu Ligan said. "We don't have any acquaintances in Chenzhou." After saying that, he regretted it. Isn't Wenwen an acquaintance? No one cares. It was strange that 3 people came to Chenzhou, but Zhang Xiangbei made a special trip to see him, which made Zhang Xiangbei even stranger. Zhang Xiangbei smiled and said, "If anything happens, just make a phone call. There's no need to mobilize so many troops and drive over here. This matter is too big to discuss over the phone," Zhang Chen said. "What's going on?" Zhang Xiangbei asked. "We are here to convince you to agree to sell Zai Xian Shui," Zhang Chen said. Zhang Xiangbei was surprised. "What? I want you to agree to sell Zaixiangsong," Zhang Chen said. Zhang Xiangbei opened his mouth and couldn't close it. He looked at Zhang Chen, who didn't look like he was joking. Then he looked at Xiao Fang and Lu Ligan, and they both nodded. Zhang Xiangbei was stunned. Thank you for reading the book every day and ranking third from top to bottom for the reward. Thank you for your monthly votes to Dora Eamon and Shachin Mood. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2188. Why? Zhang Xiangbei asked after a while. Zhang Chen said, Zhang Xiangbei, if you compete with other companies now, what do you do and how much money does it cost? If I lose everything, even if I sell all the collections of the Riverside Oil Painting Gallery, I will support you, but what we are doing now is very dangerous, and what matters is not the success or failure of home delivery, but your personal safety. If something happens to you, the three of us together can't save you. Zhang Xiangbei was puzzled and asked, what's wrong with me? You crossed the line, did something you shouldn't have done, and touched a bottom line you shouldn't have touched, Zhang Chen said. Crossing the line? Me? What a joke. What did I do to cross the line? Was it drug trafficking or arms smuggling? Zhang Xiangbei was unconvinced and asked. No, your company has no business problems, but the village reform company you are working on is not what you should do. Let me ask you, in Chongqing, Gansu, Ningxia and Yunnan, are you completely treating others? Is the village committee empty? Zhang Chen asked. Yes, shouldn't this be the case? How can a village reform company have two centers? Don't blame me. If your half-acre field has two sets of management departments, how can your company still do well? I said, is it wrong? Zhang Xiangbei said and looked at Xiao Fang. Xiao Fang said, Bai Bei, don't be anxious. Listen to your father and explain the truth clearly, and you will understand. To be honest, when your father first told me, I thought the same way as you and thought it was nothing, but, I was convinced and felt that your dad was right. Okay, you tell me. Zhang Xiangbei looked at Zhang Chen, a little angry. Zhang Chen said, if it is an ordinary company, you are right, but what you are doing now is not a simple company. It can even be said that it is not something that your company can do. Who gave you the power to let you have the right to evade the village committee? Do you know what a village committee is? Isn't it the village committee? Zhang Xiangbei muttered. Although the village committee is not a first-level government department, it is the most basic organization in the entire country's governance structure. What is an organization? An organization is a network. As long as one thread is broken, the network will be broken. Our governance structure, from bottom to top, villages formed towns, towns formed cities and counties, cities and counties formed provinces, municipalities and autonomous regions, and then upward. The village committee is the most basic unit in this organizational structure. It can also be said that it is like a person's nerve endings. If all the nerve endings of a person are paralyzed, the person's body will be finished. Hello, so brave, he actually dared to empty the village committee. You know what you did? It was to cut the threads in that network and paralyze the nerve endings of this organizational structure. In the past, you would have been treason and wanted to be beheaded. Do you know? However, what we are doing has the support of the local county and township governments, Zhang Xiangbei argued. That's because they haven't seen it clearly yet. This is still a new thing. In other words, they are anxious and afraid of poverty. They are eager to change the status quo and seek medical treatment for some diseases. You can get immediate results and let them see the economic situation. Of course they welcome you to change, but when they realize the seriousness of the problem, they won't think so. Zhang Chen looked at Zhang Xiangbei and said, Bai Bei, your father is right. In the past, when we were invited to attract investment, there were places that gave green cards to investors. They said it was a minor violation and they could be exempted from prosecution. There was also a local boss who told me face to face that I can't do it if you want to get killed here, but I can help you with everything else, but if you really go there, it will be miserable. Lu Ligan said on the side, think about it, There are only a few villages in a township. When the villages below this township are all converted into your company, and the village committee director is just your general manager, these directors will be able to do you want to listen to you, or do you want to listen to the villagers? I must be listening to you. You have already taken over the village affairs and sidelined the village committee. If they don't listen to you, who else should they listen to? Even if there is someone who doesn't listen to you, you will find a way to replace him. He must be dismissed, mobilize the employees below, or remove him, or replace him during the election. A disobedient director will definitely end up like this, right? At this time, when the countryside realizes that their command has failed and they have actually become an empty frame, no decisions can be implemented and they have to go through your company, do you think they will still think this way? In the same way, when every town is emptied out like this, the county will definitely not function properly. This is what your father said, because the paralysis of nerve endings quickly turns into paralysis of the entire body. Needless to say, you are already suspected of manipulating the village committee election. You still only have a dozen companies, and no one has noticed you yet. But when the number of companies below you reaches hundreds or thousands, and you can control these companies, the nature of the matter will change. You will become a big power group. At this time, whether you admit it or not, you are already a political power group. You control hundreds of thousands of villages, and the directors of hundreds of thousands of village committees are actually appointed by you. Zhang Chen looked at Zhang Xiangbei and continued. That will break the sky and cause a huge shock. At that time, Zhang Xiangbei, you will be unable to control yourself. But we didn't do anything bad, Zhang Xiangbei said. Is it wrong to lead the villagers out of poverty? This has nothing to do with you doing good or bad things, but with you doing things you shouldn't have done, Zhang Chen said. We are in the business, and we can serve the society and benefit the society, just like you did. The purpose of the Suishaobang activity is to benefit society, but those who run businesses should not think about changing society. The result of your transformation of society is that you have emptied the village committee and kidnapped the villagers. No one listens to the words of the village committee and the two village committees. They all listen to you. What guarantee do you have? Everything you do is yes? You no longer need to talk about transforming society, nor do you need to think about it. As a company, you are just a member of society. What ability do you have to transform society? A document is issued at the top, and people's communes are started at the bottom. One document can start rural reform and implement the household responsibility system. One document can change production relations. Can you? Also, your subjective wishes may be good, and your starting point may be good. Just like when I was boasting on the stage, I also thought that what I made was just a well-intentioned criticism, but in fact, my so-called goodwill criticism can easily be translated into malicious attacks. This boundary is very narrow and can easily be crossed. It was only after Uncle Li Yong called me and pointed this out that I realized the absurdity of my behavior. Now, your village transformation company project is no longer a corporate project, but a social issue and a political issue. You must stop immediately. If you don't stop, the rest will be beyond your control. Zhang Xiangbei laughed and asked, is it as serious as you said? Lu Ligan and Xiao Fang both nodded. Zhang Chen said. Of course there is. Even Xiao Gan knows that now no one in your Yubei company and the village committee has listened to the words of the village committee. Do you think the village party secretary will not report this phenomenon to the higher authorities? Out of his job responsibilities and organizational principles, it must also be reported to the superiors. I think the superiors will soon realize the seriousness of the matter and take action to stop it. Zhang Xiangbei, I never expected you to do much business or earn much money. What you are doing now has exceeded my expectations. As a father, what I want to see most is your safety. You have to know that if I don't stop you, if something happens to you, I won't be able to explain it to your mother. Xiao Fang sighed, and she and Zhang Xiangbei said, Bai Bei, listen to your father, we sold the Zaixiangsong. What do you mean? Zhang Xiangbei looked at them and asked, you are saying that now I have made the Zai Xianshui into a thunder, and then I will be a blame shifter, right? That's not to say, it's that you are in a dilemma now, and you have no way to correct it yourself. Xiao Fang said, if all these projects are done by the following, your head office can stop and correct them. But the question is, these projects have always been done by you on the front line, by yourself. Is there any room for maneuver? Now that you are overturning your own decision, how do you face the people below and the villagers to whom you have made a promise? Once you start to change, that is when your personal credit collapses, and now your personal credit is closely tied to the credit of home fresh delivery. This is the reason why I hope you can retreat bravely and bid farewell to Zai Xiansu completely. In fact, you are already in a dilemma and have no choice. If you drag it on, both you and Zai Xiansu will suffer. Fortunately, now if they want to acquire Zaixianshui, they are only interested in your entire urban fresh food delivery network, and they are not very interested in the supply side. I don't deny that I have selfish motives. Even if this is a thunder, it is bound to explode. I don't want it to explode in your hands, Zhang Xiangbei Zhang Chen said. The people who take over don't have the same burden as you. They can transform the supply side and change the format. You have no way to change it now, Lu Ligan said. Let me think about it carefully, okay, Zhang Xiangbei said. Things are already fermenting and there is no time, Zhang Chen said. Zhang Xiangbei, this is not a negotiable choice. Regardless of whether you agree or not, the Zaixian delivery will be sold, even if you hate me for it. I won't watch you being blown to pieces, I will definitely sell Zaixianshao. There was a temporary silence in the box. Zhang Xiangbei lowered his head. He knew that his father must be serious if he could say such heavy words. What they said made sense, but it was not completely able to convince him. But now, it doesn't matter whether you can convince him or not. Even if you object again, you must say goodbye to Zaixianshu. When he thought about saying goodbye to Zai Xianshao, especially when his dream of transforming society could no longer be carried forward, he felt both painful and chilly in his heart. He was still high-spirited during the day, but now he has been beaten to the point of losing his armor. Zhang Xiangbei felt that he was a deserter. This deserter's escape was too hasty and ugly. But what else could he do but surrender? My small share is simply not enough to determine the fate of Zaixianshao. When Zhang Xiangbei was thinking about this, scenes of him in Chongqing, Nianzigou, Qujing, and Henghe Prefecture in Yunnan appeared before his eyes. Bai Bei, we are here in such a hurry to explain things clearly to you and make you understand. Xiao Fang tried her best to ease the somewhat chilling atmosphere brought by Zhang Chen. Zhang Xiangbei raised his head, his eyes were red, he looked at Xiao Fang and asked. Currently, the most likely people to acquire us are Senior and Teacher Ma, right? Yes, Xiao Fang nodded, there are many people who are willing, but we know them and have the strength. Okay, help me make an appointment with them. I want to talk to them, Zhang Xiangbei said. Xiao Fang said yes. Zhang Chen asked, Zhang Xiangbei, what do you want to do? I want to regain some dignity and leave a whole body for Zaixianshu. Okay, Zhang Xiangbei glared at Zhang Chen, stood up and walked out. Zhang Chen wanted to say something, but Xiao Fang patted his hand and said, give him some time and leave it to me. I'll communicate with him. By the way, you guys go back to the hotel first. Xiao Fang also stood up and walked out. Thank you Brokeback Mountain for the reward of 2 fishes. Thank you for your monthly votes from Pialing Yayu, don't take it too seriously, Sand-Dust Mood, Frivolousness, and Book Friends 201708182135179119. Thanks for all the votes and reading. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2189. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan returned to the Vienna International Hotel where they were staying. Lu Ligan asked Zhang Chen. Do we have to sell Zai Xianshui? This will be a huge blow to Bai Bei. There is no other way. We must be so cruel, otherwise he won't be able to stop him, Zhang Chen said and sighed. It's better than watching him being targeted and making life worse than death. Today's society is no longer ours. When he was his age, he could run wild, but now he has to follow the rules. You're right. At that time, we had many opportunities and society was very tolerant. It seemed like we could do anything. It's not just us who are bold, the whole society is bold. Do you still remember the full-page advertisement I did on the front page of Hangcheng Daily, the party newspaper? How much risk did I take to dare to make a decision? It is now, the editor-in-chief and the president must have the attitude that doing more is worse than doing less, and they won't do anything they say, Lu Ligan said. This is probably the law of social development, from disorder to order, from a jungle society to a society ruled by law, Zhang Chen said. Lu Ligan sighed, thinking about Bai Bei and others. It is really difficult. It is difficult to have no money, it is difficult to have money, it is difficult to start a business, and it is still difficult even if the business is successful. There are old guys like us above, blocking their way. They can only find industries that we old guys are not good at, Zhang Chen said with a smile. There are still industries that the old guys are not good at. Malayao and the others are already old guys. The road to the internet has also been blocked by them. Bai Bei and the others can only survive under their wings or in the cracks. Lu Ligan said, so what if Bai Bei kills Daily Fresh? Now it's not about to be acquired by the old guys. Yes, the rules of this society are made by the old guys, Zhang Chen said. I want to go out for a while, Lu Ligan said. Where to go? Zhang Chen asked. Ningyuan, go to Hongling Reservoir, Lu Ligan said. Why, leave Wenwen here and go have an affair with Qian? Ghost, I'm going to see my daughter. If I want to have an affair, I won't look for a middle-aged woman, Lu Ligan said. Do you want me to cover for you? Zhang Chen asked. No, I'm a gentleman. If Tan Shahen calls you, just tell me that I went to see Lu Wenqin, Lu Ligan said. Go away, gentleman, Zhang Chen cursed. Come back tomorrow morning. We'll go back at noon, right? Lu Ligan asked. Zhang Chen nodded. Lu Ligan left, and Zhang Chen sat alone with a complicated mood. He knew that this matter was solved and could breathe a sigh of relief. But at the same time, he felt sorry for Zhang Xiangbei. Zhang Xiangbei devoted himself wholeheartedly to being a Zaixian. Zhang Chen saw every bit of it, and now he was asked to sell the Zaixian Send. Zhang Chen knew that it would be a huge blow to Zhang Xiangbei. Zhang Chen also hated that he was the one who made the decision. But not making this decision, or even a little hesitation, may lead to a big mistake, which Zhang Chen cannot forgive himself for. He has asked himself the same question again and again, that is, he must give fresh food to his family. Has it been sold? Can't they just let Zhang Xiangbei temporarily step aside and let them help solve and correct these projects that have been transformed into village companies, and then return them to Zhang Xiangbei? They discussed this issue all the way, but Zhang Chen finally felt that the risk was too great. First, he did not know whether Zhang Xiangbei could accept this change. Second, he was not sure that after they changed, Zhang Xiangbei won't change it back. After all, their plan is a solution that completely removes Zai Xianshao from itself. It will be very difficult for Zhang Xiangbei to accept it. If he doesn't accept it and changes it back, it will completely block his own escape route. The third and most important thing is that Zhang Chen doesn't know how far this matter has fermented. If it has spread and the higher UPS want to take action, Zhang Xiangbei, the instigator, is still there. It will not only be the Zaixian delivery that is unlucky. Zhang Xiangbei will inevitably be unlucky as well. At this time, if Zai Xiansu has changed owners, Zhang Xiangbei is no longer in Zai Xiansu, and what should be corrected has been corrected, Zhang Chen knows that just for the sake of stability, the higher UPS will also by holding still and continuing to observe, Zhang Xiangbei would be able to escape unscathed. Zhang Chen couldn't take this risk. He could only assume the worst of all situations and couldn't take chances. So many years of experience told him that if you take a chance, you will often not be spared in the end. Prepare for the worst, and the outcome won't be so bad. This is why Zhang Chen insists on selling Zaixian delivery. The doorbell rang. Zhang Chen walked over and opened the door. It was Xiaofang who came back. Xiaofang said, Bai Bei and I have already agreed that he will decide the acquirer, and he has agreed. Starting tonight, he will take a vacation, and we will be responsible for the rest. Zhang Chen said okay, then I'll call Wenwen over. Xiaofang nodded. She picked up the phone and called Wu Huan. Zhang Chen went to the inner room to call Wenwen. Boss, what are your orders? Wu Huan asked on the phone. You immediately notify Xiang Yun and Feng Shengquan, as well as Zhen Mingshan from Yunnan, to come to Hangzhou tomorrow. There will be a meeting the day after tomorrow. I have something urgent to tell them in person. I will tell you what it is specifically when I go back tomorrow. By the way, Zhang Xiangbei will be on vacation starting today. If anything happens in the company, please call me, Xiaofang said. Although Wu Huan was confused, he still said yes, boss, I will notify you immediately. Xiaofang then called Lu Yun and told Lu Yun about their communication with Zhang Xiangbei. Lu Yun asked, Is Bai Bei okay? It's okay, I can still bear it, Xiaofang said. Lu Yun sighed and said nothing more. She hung up the phone. Then, she called Xiaohu again and told Xiaohu that Zai Xianshui was still ready to be sold. Don't worry, we will definitely negotiate a good price. With you here, what should I worry about? Has Zhang Xiangbei agreed? Xiaohu asked. Agreed. Reluctantly. Whether he wants it or not, he will know in the future that we are doing this for his own good, Xiaofang said. Okay, ask him how he is for me, Xiaohu said and hung up the phone. Zhang Chen came out of the inner room and asked, Is everything arranged? Xiaofang nodded, the company had made arrangements, and the senior and Zheng Huiyang's phone calls had not been made. We will talk about it tomorrow and deal with the internal matters of the company first. Zhang Chen said yes. He looked at his watch and said, Wenwen is coming soon, she's not far from here. As soon as Zhang Chen finished speaking, the doorbell rang. Xiaofang hurried over to open the door, and it was Wenwen who came. The three people sat down on the sofa. Zhang Chen and Wenwen asked, How many villages here are undergoing village transformation into companies? Hunan plus Guangdong, 26, Wenwen said. How many villages have established companies? Xiaofang asked. 5. Not included in these 26. Yes, this was already established when Bai Bei came here last year, Wenwen said. We may need to make some adjustments now. The 26 on hand should be slowed down for a while. We can adjust the first 5 first and then follow up. At the same time, don't develop any new projects, Xiaofang explained. How to change the previous one? Wenwen asked. Withdraw our people and leave only one financial director in the company. At the same time, we will discuss with the township government and entrust the township government to exercise our company's voting rights in the tripartite joint venture, Xiaofang said. Wenwen was taken aback and said, But, in this case, we are not. Zhang Chen nodded and said, Yes, this is still a three-party cooperation company, but our role in it is light. We basically only exist as a supervisor and do not participate in specific management. Why is this? Wenwen asked. This is the transitional plan that Zhang Chen and the others discussed on the way here, and it is also the exit plan for Zaixianshui. In this way, the company is still formally a three-way cooperation company between Zaixianshui, the village committee and the villagers, but in the village, in fact, only the village committee and the villagers exist. Just like the operation of those professional cooperatives, Zaixian Delivery has actually withdrawn from daily management. But this is still a company directly operated by them, and the products are only provided to Zaixian Shui. The production arrangements are also subject to the order guidance of Zaixian. After the original voting rights of Zaixian Shui in the company were entrusted to the township to exercise on their behalf, the township's role has become more important and can directly intervene in the management of these companies, that is, the village. This is the best solution that Zhang Chen and the others can come up with at the moment. This will of course cause losses to Zaixian Delivery, but this loss is something they must bear. It must also be emphasized that the original village committee must be completely decoupled from the company. The village committee is still the village committee, and the company is just a company. The general manager of the company can be concurrently served by the director of the village committee, or he can be appointed by the village committee, or the three-party shareholders may vote and decide that the company will participate in the construction of the village only as a form of sponsorship. Xiaofang and Wenwen said. Wenwen said, yes, I know, that's it. What's wrong? Zhang Chen asked. It feels like a simple thing is made complicated, Wenwen said. Zhang Chen sighed and said, there is no way to avoid complexity. This is a complicated society to begin with. The next day, they set off on their way back. Zhang Xiangbei had been looking gloomy since he got up in the morning, saying almost nothing. He was also like this when he got to the car. Lu Ligan drove, Zhang Chen sat in the passenger seat, and Xiaofang and Zhang Xiangbei sat in the back seat. Zhang Chen looked behind him through the rearview mirror. He saw Zhang Xiangbei leaning against the car door, with his head tilted to one side and leaning against the car window. He was wearing a hoodie with his hood up. Covering the upper half of his head in the brim of the hat, Zhang Chen couldn't see whether his eyes were open or whether he had fallen asleep. Entering the service area, Xiaofang asked Zhang Xiangbei if he wanted to go to the bathroom. Zhang Xiangbei still kept his posture motionless, but said angrily from under the brim of his hat, "Don't want." It was already evening when they drove to the Shangro service area. Everyone got off the car to eat. Xiaofang called Zhang Xiangbei, and Zhang Xiangbei said he was not hungry. "If you're not hungry, come down for a walk and do some exercise," Xiaofang said. Zhang Xiangbei got out of the car, still wearing the hoodie and walking with his head lowered. Zhang Chen still couldn't see his eyes. When Zhang Chen wanted to say something, Xiaofang winked at him. Zhang Chen looked at Zhang Xiangbei, his whole body was like a loose spring with no elasticity. "Thank you for your monthly votes from Mo Wang, Nan Ke Yiman 79, Yunlong Frogfish, and Tianzong Hong. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2190. Zhang Chen and the others returned to Hangzhou in the middle of the night. Zhang Xiangbei didn't sleep all night. Seeing that it was dawn outside, Zhang Xiangbei got up and went downstairs, walked to the next door, sat down to have breakfast with the four old people, and Zhang Xiangzi walked to at the top of the stairs. When he saw Zhang Xiangbei, he shouted, "North." Then he ran downstairs, and Grandma shouted together, "Be careful, be careful." A few people gathered around and continued to have breakfast. Zhang Xiangbei told his Grandma, "Zixi, I will take her to kindergarten." Before Grandma could speak, Zhang Xiangzi shouted, "Okay, Bai will send me off." Zhang Xiangbei said, "I will pick him up in the afternoon." Zhang Xiangzi fell back, leaning his head on the back of the chair, giggling, "That will scare Zhao's Haiqiang to death." "Why?" Zhang Xiangbei asked. "Zhao's Haiqiang always grabbed my pigtails. I told him that I would ask my brother to beat you. He always said, 'Your brother won't come, so I'm not afraid.'" Bai Bei, you went today. Zhao's Haiqiang saw that, I'm sure I'll faint from fright when I say oh. Zhang Xiangzi said. Zhang Xiangbei couldn't help laughing. Bai Bei, you don't have to go to work, Grandma asked. Zhang Xiangbei did not directly answer whether he would go to work or not. He just said, I have time. Zhang Xiangbei pulled over the road at the entrance of the kindergarten, and got out of the car with Zhang Xiangzi. Zhang Xiangzi held Zhang Xiangbei's hand and walked towards the kindergarten. When Zhang Xiangzi saw a classmate, he shouted, "This is my brother Bai Bei." When he was about to reach the school gate, Zhang Xiangzi saw the teacher on duty standing at the school gate to greet the children from a distance. He quickly let go of Zhang Xiangbei's hand and ran over. She grabbed the hand of a little girl and shouted, Teacher Zhao, Bai Bei sent me here today." "Who is Bai Bei?" Teacher Zhao asked. Zhang Xiangzi turned around and waved to Zhang Xiangbei, asking him to come quickly. Zhang Xiangbei walked closer. Zhang Xiangzi held Teacher Zhao's hand with one hand, and held Zhang Xiangbei's hand with the other, saying, "Teacher Zhao, this is my brother Bai Bei, please shake hands." This made Zhang Xiangbei and Teacher Zhao a little embarrassed. They could only shake hands. Zhang Xiangbei said, "Hello, Teacher Zhao." "Hello, Bei." Zhang Xiangzi's parent Teacher Zhao blushed. Zhang Xiangzi and Zhang Xiangbei said seriously, "Okay, Bai Bei, you can go. I tell you, drive carefully and pay attention to safety." Teacher Zhao burst into laughter, and Zhang Xiangbei nodded quickly and said, "Okay, I understand." He waved his hand to Teacher Zhao, turned around and ran away. After a few steps, he heard Zhang Xiangzi shouting Bai Bei from behind. Zhang Xiangbei turned around, and Zhang Xiangzi shouted, "Bai Bei, don't forget to pick me up this afternoon." Zhang Xiangbei drove to the underground parking lot by the Meisi River. He parked the car and looked at his watch. At this time, Zhang Chen, Xiaofang, Lu Ligan, and Tan Shuhen were having breakfast. Zhang Xiangbei didn't want to meet them, let alone say anything. Zhang Xiangbei didn't get out of the car, but put his seat down, and they fell down. He stared at the top of the car hood with wide eyes, thinking that they were escorting him back to Hangzhou from Quanzhou in the middle of the night, but he had a home that he couldn't go back to, and a company that he couldn't go to. He was like a lost dog. Zhang Xiangbei felt sorry for himself. He had been thinking wildly all night without sleeping. By this time, he was really sleepy. After a while, his eyelids began to droop, his brain felt numb, and he fell asleep. He woke up once in a daze. He looked at his watch. It was already past 12 o'clock at noon. He was still terribly sleepy. He turned over and prepared to continue sleeping. When he thought of something, he quickly took out his mobile phone and turned on the alarm clock. The setting was adjusted to 4:10, and soon, Zhang Xiangbei fell asleep again. Xiaofang and Zhang Chen took a car together and went to the half-acre field logistics base in Jubeo. Zhang Chen drove the car to the door of Zaixian Delivery and put Xiaofang down. He turned the car around and drove to Diet Men and Women. Xiaofang went upstairs to Zhang Xiangbei's office door, opened the door and walked in. She put her bag away, sat down at her desk, then picked up the phone on the desk, dialed a few numbers, and waited. The other party picked up the phone and Xiaofang said, "Wu Huan, I'm here, come here." Wu Huan walked in from the door. Xiaofang said, "Close the door." Wu Huan turned around and closed the door, then walked over and sat down across from the desk. Xiaofang asked, "Are Xiang Yun and the others here?" "We're here, wait in the conference room, shall we go over now?" Wu Huan stood up again as he spoke. Xiaofang stretched out her right hand and waved it twice with her palm facing down. "There's no rush. Sit down first and I'll tell you what's going on." Wu Huan sat down and Xiaofang told Wu Huan everything. Wu Huan felt cold in her heart and was shocked. She said, boss, it was my mistake. Why didn't I think of this? I should have reminded Mr. Zhang. It has nothing to do with you, Xiaofang said. Don't say it's you. Even Lu Yun and I didn't think that it was his father who heard what Mr. Gan said and became alert. He told us and we realized what was going on. Danger. Is it really necessary to sell Zaixianzi? Wu Huan asked. Xiaofang nodded and said, this is the only way out. In other words, after I've gone around in a circle, I might still have to go back to the treasure net, Wu Huan asked. Yes, it depends on Bai Bei's choice. If he chooses to cooperate with Teacher Ma, this will happen. Wu Huan, I tell you all this to make you mentally prepared, Xiaofang said. I know, Wu Huan said, thank you, boss. We haven't officially started negotiating with the other party about the acquisition yet. Don't let any news leak out for the time being. We will talk to them later. We will use the same approach and just say that this is the plan proposed by the shareholders. Why? No need to elaborate. No need to elaborate. Remind them of the dangers involved, Xiaofang explained to Wu Huan. Wu Huan said, I know. If someone is interested, it may become our confession. Yes, that's it, Xiaofang said and stood up. Let's go there. The two people arrived at the conference room. Xiang Yun, Zheng Mingshan, and Feng Shengquan were already sitting here. They all received calls from Wu Huan the night before yesterday. They came from Yinchuan, Kunming, and Lanzhou respectively yesterday and arrived at the company early this morning. Wu Huan introduced to them that Mr. Zhang needs to take a break for the time being. During this period, Mr. Gan will take over Mr. Zhang's work. He called you here to hold this emergency meeting. It is a shareholders meeting about our village transformation company project. There are new arrangements. Although the three people felt a little surprised, they all knew the relationship between Xiaofang and Zhang Xiangbei and did not think of the worst. Xiaofang explained to them in detail their exit plan for the village reform company project in these three places. All three of them felt a little confused and said to Yun, Mr. Gan, why do you do this? To be honest, I feel that this plan is like our suicide plan. Forgive me for saying it so bluntly. If we follow this step, we will be useless in those companies. In fact, he has already driven himself out. Xiaofang said, you are right. The reason for doing this is really a plan to actually withdraw ourselves without having such a big impact. The shareholders will think that our front should not be too long. On the supply side, we need to scale back our expansion ambitions. If this is the case, then there is no need to advance this project in the first place. Now that we have invested so much money, if we just stepped in and then backed out, what's the point? We are not making ineffective investments. Xiang Yun said. It can't be said to be an ineffective investment, Xiaofang said. Xiaofang felt in her heart that it was really difficult to deceive Xiang Yun, but Xiaofang couldn't tell the truth to her. Xiaofang said. Although we have withdrawn from actual day-to-day management of these companies, they are still our subsidiaries, and their products are only supplied to us. Our investment can also get long-term returns. This cannot be said to be an invalid investment, you say right. Before Xiang Evian could speak, Xiaofang continued. Of course, the return on investment may not be as good as before, but we can afford the loss. Xiang Evian was still unconvinced. She said, it is not a matter of investment efficiency, but that this will significantly reduce our control over these companies. Moreover, if we entrust our voting rights to the township, I can guarantee that, will definitely cause constant disputes between the township and village levels. We have also considered these, but a company is a company. In a company, the decision of the shareholders meeting is above all else, so this plan must be implemented and fast. Wu Huan will have a timetable to ask you. Everything must be completed within the specified time, do you understand? Xiaofang looked at Xiang Yun and said, Xiang Yun sighed, she said okay, in this case, I will execute it unconditionally. Also, you must continue to implement the original promises made by Mr. Zhang to all villages, such as improving roads, water, toilets, kindergartens, and nursing homes. These must be implemented without compromise, but only as local projects sponsored by our company. After Xiaofang and Zhang Chen discussed it, they decided to do this to save Zhang Xiangbei's face to the greatest extent possible. Nodding to Evian, she said, how to arrange the personnel stationed in the company. She was talking about people like Li Shengfeng. Let them return to each of your branches. Their salary and rank can be improved, but they are not allowed to be demoted. If your branch does not have so many positions, the old people have to make room for the newcomers. The old people from the 3 places can all report to Wu Huan here. She will make unified arrangements across the country to go to new cities and new companies, Xiaofang said. Why can't they go directly to the new company? Zheng Mingshan asked. Wu Huan said, most of our new companies are engaged in fresh food delivery. Those cadres who were withdrawn from the village reform company project have no experience in this area. What they do have is basically experience on the supply side. They are withdrawn to you. The Yunnan and Ningxia Gansu branches still have the same business. No matter what the old people say, if they are transferred to the new company, their ability to adapt and change will be stronger than them. At noon, Xiaofang and Wu Huan invited the 3 of them to dinner at the Tuxianjiayuan Hotel in Xiaosha. Knowing that the 3 of them still had doubts and emotions in their hearts, they used this to soften them. After lunch, the company had already after booking their return tickets, Xiaofang and Wu Huan took them to the airport in person. At the airport, when bidding farewell to Evian and Xiaofang, she quietly asked Xiaofang, Mr. Zhang, is he okay? She knew that something must have happened to Zhang Xiangbei. It was not as simple as taking a temporary break for some reason, that is, he was a person who would not take a break. He is very good. Thank you, Xiang Yun. I think it won't be long before you come to Hangzhou and you can see him then, Xiaofang said. He nodded to Evian. Thank you, Brokeback Mountain, for the reward of 2 fishes. Thank you for your monthly votes from Guangchentiou, Daodu, On the Road Tianation, Wonk 119, Daos Hung 123, if you don't let yourself get mad, you have to be a demon. Book Friends 201612310039542999, Book Friends 2017080309172865. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2191. Sitting in the waiting hall, Xiang Yun felt panicked. She picked up her mobile phone and dialed Zhang Xiangbei. The call went through and kept ringing until she heard the number you dialed is not available. Answer. Voice. Xiang Yun opened WeChat and pressed the language call button. The other party still didn't answer. Xiang Yun put down the phone, sighed, and thought for a while, then picked up the phone and sent Zhang Xiangbei a WeChat message. I'm at Xiaoshan Airport and I'm going back soon. Just tell me, how are you? After the message was sent, the phone remained silent. Xiang Yun picked it up from time to time to look at it. Zhang Xiangbei did not reply to her message until it was time to board the plane. Zhang Xiangbei was lying in the car. Although he fell asleep, his brain didn't seem to stop resting at all. He was having messy dreams one after another. The more he slept, the sleepier he seemed to be and the more confused his brain became. Feeling more tired than when awake. The ringing of his cell phone woke him up. He opened his eyes and saw that it was Xiang Yun. Zhang Xiangbei didn't answer it. If he did, he didn't know what to say to her and didn't dare to answer it. He was afraid that he would answer the call. As he talked, he couldn't control himself. He thought of how high-spirited he was when they arrived at Nianzigou, but now, he was out of the game. Zhang Xiangbei didn't even dare to think about what would happen next to Nianzigou, that Lao Xiao, that Erpai, that Pang Shuangzi, that Li Shengfeng. Zhang Xiangbei didn't know what would happen to them next. He felt that he was just, they couldn't face it either. The ringing of the phone stopped. After a while, the ringtone of WeChat tried to ring again, but it was still Xiang Yun. Zhang Xiangbei still did not dare to answer it, let alone answer it. After answering, he was still worried that Xiang Yun would ask him to video. Zhang Xiangbei shook his head, seemingly shaking his head in reply to Xiang Yun. Finally, the WeChat ringtone stopped, and the surroundings fell into silence. A ding sound pierced the silence, like a nail driven in. Zhang Xiangbei knew that it must be Xiang Evian. WeChat. Zhang Xiangbei opened it and saw, I'm at Xiaoshan Airport and I'm going back soon. Just tell me, how are you? Zhang Xiangbei shook his head, put down the phone, and kept saying in his heart, no, I'm not good, I'm very bad. There was no way his heart could deceive himself. Zhang Xiangbei fell asleep again amidst the series of bad sounds. The alarm clock woke Zhang Xiangbei up again. He lay there and opened his eyes and saw the roof of the car. For a moment, he didn't know why he was in the car or what he was going to do next. He closed his eyes. When he opened it again, he remembered that the time was up and he was going to pick up Zhang Xiangzi from kindergarten. Zhang Xiangbei sat up and straightened his seat. He rubbed his face with both hands, then took his phone and opened WeChat. He stared at Xiang Yun's message for a while, calculating in his mind. Xiang Yun should still be in the sky at this time. Zhang Xiangbei sighed and replied, okay, thank you. Zhang Xiangbei drove to Zhang Xiangzi's kindergarten and parked the car. During commuting time, there were traffic police on duty on the roadside here, allowing temporary parking. Zhang Xiangbei got off the car and walked to the entrance of the kindergarten. At this time, there were parents picking up their children at the entrance of the kindergarten, but most of them were old men and women, shouting and making noise. There were not many young people like Zhang Xiangbei. The large iron gate of the kindergarten was closed, and all the parents looked inside through the gaps in the iron gate. The children inside were starting to finish school one after another. Zhang Xiangbei stood behind the crowd. He was tall and could still see inside the iron fence. He saw Zhang Xiangzi also appeared in his sight and quickly raised his hand to wave to her. Zhang Xiangzi also saw Zhang Xiangbei. She turned around and looked for someone, found him, and cried. Zhao's Haiqiang. Zhao's Haiqiang was a tough-headed little boy. He asked Zhang Xiangzi, what did you call me for? I'm dirty. Zhang Xiangzi was furious when she heard the nickname Zhao's Haiqiang called her. She put her hands on her hips and sneered, you still dare to scold me? Did you see that Bai Bei is here, the tallest one? Zhao's Haiqiang looked outside the door and saw Zhang Xiangbei waving his hand inside. Zhao's Haiqiang shouted. Where is there, what the hell is going on? Zhang Xiangzi turned around and pointed toward the door with his hand and said, did you see that the one waving his hand is Bai Bei? Zhao's Haiqiang didn't answer her. Zhang Xiangzi turned around and saw that Zhao's Haiqiang had already disappeared. Zhang Xiangzi laughed and cursed. Are you scared? Are you scared? Is Bai Bei coming? Zhang Xiangzi walked out of the small door next to the main door and was handed to Zhang Xiangbei by teacher Zhao. Zhang Xiangzi looked around, and Zhang Xiangbei asked. What are you looking at? Bai Bei, have you seen that Zhao's Haiqiang? Zhang Xiangbei smiled and said, there are so many children, how do I know which one is Zhao's Haiqiang? Zhang Xiangzi snorted and cursed, that's the worst kid. Zhang Xiangbei laughed and said no, I haven't seen the worst children. The two got in the car, and Zhang Xiangbei asked Zhang Xiangzi, do you want to eat at KFC, McDonald's, or Pizza Hut? I want to eat steak, Bai Bei, Zhang Xiangzi said. Zhang Xiangbei said okay, then let's go eat steak. He handed his mobile phone to Zhang Xiangzi and said to her, Call grandma and tell her we won't go back for dinner. Zhang Xiangzi dialed the phone. Zhang Xiangbei started the car and left. Zhang Xiangbei took Zhang Xiangzi to the steakhouse on the second floor of the JW Marriott Hotel on Hushu South Road. Zhang Xiangbei knew that when Zhang Xiangzi said he wanted to eat steak, he didn't go to Hangcheng Tower or Formosa King Steakhouse in Hangzhou Center, but here. And here, her favorite food is actually not steak, but the free bread. Zhang Xiangbei didn't even eat lunch and was already very hungry. He ordered 2 steaks, salmon salad, pappardelle, and foie gras. Zhang Xiangzi also ordered scallops. When the meal was served, Zhang Xiangzi Feng Juanyun not only ate his own portion of bread, but also Zhang Xiangbei's. Zhang Xiangbei smiled and asked the waiter for another portion. After it was served, Zhang Xiangzi said that this was going to be packed. Bai, let me tell you, I'm going to start eating steak. As a result, she only ate half of the steak and left half for Zhang Xiangbei. She also only ate half of the scallops. She also asked for cod, so Zhang Xiangbei ordered another cod for her. After eating a little bit of the cod, she pushed it to Zhang Xiangbei's side. Zhang Xiangbei looked at her, and Zhang Xiangzi also looked at him and said seriously, Bai, let me tell you, I can't eat any of it. My stomach is already as full as a balloon. Okay, Zhang Xiangbei brought over her share of cod. Zhang Xiangzi was overjoyed and immediately grabbed a piece of bread that was ready to be packed away and gnawed on it. Zhang Xiangbei laughed and said, You are really a bread princess. It seems that you only live to eat bread. Zhang Xiangzi nodded desperately. Zhang Xiangbei gestured to the waiter. The waiter came over and asked with a smile. Do you need some pre-dinner bread to take away? Zhang Xiangbei and Zhang Xiangzi are regular customers here. The waiters all know them. The waiters here also know that Zhang Xiangzi likes to eat their pre-dinner bread and needs to take it away every time. The two of them finished eating and went downstairs. It was already past 7 o'clock. The evening rush hour had passed and the road was much smoother. Zhang Xiangbei drove back slowly. Zhang Xiangzi kept urging from the side, Bai, drive faster. Zhang Xiangbei said okay, but did not speed up. Zhang Xiangzi sighed heavily and exaggeratedly and said, Okay, drive slower, safety first. Zhang Xiangbei laughed. Zhang Xiangbei was not in a hurry to go back. He seemed to subconsciously want to avoid the time when there were the most people in the family. By the time it was past 8 o'clock, everyone had finished dinner and went to do whatever they had to do. It was just the right time for them to get home at that time. Zhang Xiangbei parked the car in the underground garage, got out of the car, squatted down, and Zhang Xiangzi climbed on his shoulders. Zhang Xiangbei picked up Zhang Xiangzi's school bag and packed bread from the back seat. The two of them took the elevator upstairs and walked to the door of their home. Zhang Xiangbei put Zhang Xiangzi down, gave her her school bag and the bread he brought back, opened the door, and let her go in alone. Zhang Xiangbei did not follow her. Zhang Xiangbei closed the door, turned and walked to the next door. When he opened the door, it was quiet inside. Lu Ligan and Tan Shahen had probably gone out. Zhang Xiangbei suddenly felt relieved. When he walked into the living room, he unexpectedly saw Xiao Fang. A man is sitting here. What did you take Zixi to eat? Xiao Fang asked. Steak. In the end, we still ate bread, right? Xiao Fang asked. Zhang Xiangbei smiled. Xiao Fang pointed to the sofa on the side and said to Zhang Xiangbei, Bai, you sit down and I'll tell you what happened today. Although Zhang Xiangbei was reluctant, he walked over and sat down. Xiao Fang said, Xiang Yun, Feng Shengquan and Zheng Mingshan have all been here, and they should all be home now. I have arranged for them to exit in a step-by-step manner. Zhang Xiangbei said, I know. Also, I have contacted Zheng Huiyang. Teacher Ma is abroad now and will come back next week. As soon as he comes back, Zheng Huiyang will arrange for you to meet, Xiao Fang said. Zhang Xiangbei said. Oh. Also, the senior is in Hong Kong. He will come to Hangzhou to meet you the day after tomorrow, Xiaofang said. Zhang Xiangbei said. Oh again. Bei, when you meet with them, you don't need to talk about the specific details of the acquisition and the price. I will talk to them. Also, you don't need to be too specific with them about the village to company transformation. Before they acquire it, we will handle it here and we won't let them take the blame, so don't have this burden. Zhang Xiangbei nodded. I have already told Xiang Evian and the others that all the things you promised to do for the village must be completed without any compromise, even if it is a charity event we do for the village. Bei, don't worry, there will be a smooth transition. Okay, I understand. Zhang Xiangbei breathed a sigh of relief. The plane stopped at the apron, and everyone in the cabin stood up. They anxiously opened the overhead luggage compartment and were getting their luggage. Xiang Yun also stood up. Her seat was close to the aisle, and the passengers inside were anxious to get out. Xiang Yun led him. Xiang Yun stood in the aisle. She took out her mobile phone, turned it on, and saw more than 30 unread WeChat messages. She opened it, including Zhang Xiangbei's. Xiang Yun quickly clicked on it, and saw Zhang Xiangbei's reply. Okay, thank you. From these 4 words, for some reason, Xiang Yun read Zhang Xiangbei's sense of powerlessness. She felt distressed and stood there, tears streaming down her face uncontrollably. Beauty, please give way. Someone behind was carrying luggage and urging Xiang Yun, but when he saw Xiang Yun's face, he immediately stopped talking. Xiang Yun stepped aside. I'm sorry, the man said softly and walked over. Thank you for your monthly votes from Undaunted, Feng Konghu 1974, and Book Friends 201906251314108862. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone.